is right here.
Right now.
Online at thezone1059.com and on your radio at ESPN 105.9 The Zone.
What's up, everybody? Welcome in on this Tuesday. I almost said Monday. It is not Monday. It's Tuesday. I'm wearing my cowbell shirt. Check it out. Wearing my cowbell shirt from the Mississippi State University golf course. I am ripped, snorting, raring to go. What's up? Welcome. It feels like Monday. It's not. I hope everybody had a great Labor Day weekend, long weekend, able to take in some football. I did. Hand up here. Look, I mean, if you go back to last Thursday night, so Thursday night I had a ball game I was interested in, Southern Miss at South Alabama. Friday night went to a high school game, Amory hosting Caledonia. Let's see, then we had football Saturday. Didn't watch any football Sunday. Did go to church, went back to the church house, my church. First time, we've been doing the online thing since March. First time for my family anyway to go back into the church for worship service. That happened on Sunday. And then, of course, last night, the ugliest game I've seen in a long, long time. But guess what? Guess what? Who cares? It was a game. I need some coffee. Let me start it off. Here we go.
5 seconds left to play.
You're listening to the Matt Wyatt Show.
I want winners.
This crowd is alive.
Play to win the game.
Wyatt from the shotgun, 2 backs alongside.
Knock him out, John.
Wyatt gets the ball.
It won't be long.
Wyatt back to throw. Wyatt looks, fires toward the end zone. Passes, caught for a touchdown by Matthew Butler.
Speak to
The Matt Wyatt Show. He's Radio Wyatt.
Well, how am I going to go to college? I'll just play football.
Thank you, Jerry. Let's talk a little football. They played football all weekend long. What's up to everybody tuning in on the live stream on Facebook? Facebook.com/Radio Wyatt. Hey to y'all on the live stream. Lynn and Pamela and Adam and Danny. Look at Adam. Adam Watson, my man. My man, Adam Watson, Farm Bureau Insurance, Clay County. He's got my business. Known Adam for a long time. Just another example, one of those hometown heroes, your local Farm Bureau Insurance agent. Something happens right now. If I'm standing here in this studio and the tree right outside falls in and mashes the roof, I got Adam on my Facebook live stream. I don't even have to call him. I'll just tell him right now, hey, Adam, you might want to head this way. See? Isn't it great? And then he'll be here in about 15 minutes. That's the way it works with Farm Bureau Insurance. Welcome into the studio. JB, how was your long weekend, sir?
Man, except for my wife being out of town,
Yeah.
it was really good. I got to do whatever I wanted to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's funny how you word this because it's almost like you think she's listening.
Well, you know, you never know about my wife. We've been married almost 35 years, and sometimes I think she can hear things when she's not even close.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Right. This is experience talking, y'all. You hear me? This is the way it works. Well, I know, like you, I caught some football. Let me give you all a heads up, too, by the way, if you're tuning in. In about 2 to 2.5 minutes from right now, we're going to chat it up with a friend of mine, Jamie Arrington. Jamie's one of the biggest Southern Miss fans I know, and he hosts the To the Top Talk podcast. So that's coming up. We're going to get some details. We'll see just kind of what he's hearing about what went down at Southern Miss with Coach Jay Hobson, who over the weekend made it official that he was resigning, and it sounded like one of those mutual decisions. I say sounded like it because it's not like I have some kind of, behind-the-scenes information on this. There's rumors out there all over the place just about, whether or not it was a firing or Jay resigned. And we'll talk to Jamie, but it doesn't make any sense to me for you to get one game into a pandemic season and fire somebody for wins and losses when he's got a winning record. And people can talk, they talk about the history, and Southern Miss does have a really strong history. But the whole landscape of college football has totally changed, and it's really changed for Southern Miss. Because 25, 30 years ago, there was no South Alabama. You weren't really recruiting against Louisiana Monroe and UAB. And it was just totally different. So it's really changed now. And so there just had to be some other things, right? You just look at it and you go, pragmatically, this couldn't have just couldn't have been a firing based on wins and losses. Maybe there's other things, and I think they're this factor, that factor. Maybe going back to trying to hire Art Briles. People bring that up, but there had to be other things. Here's one of the statements that came out over the weekend about Jay Hopson stepping down. And I'm using that word because that's what they're saying. From Southern Miss Athletics Director Jeremy McClain. This is in a statement from Southern Miss. Coach Hopson came to me after last Thursday's game, to discuss what was on his heart, and after much discussion over the weekend, he and I agreed that new leadership for our program is needed. Now, that statement right there, Jeremy McClain is saying we didn't go to him to sit him down and give him a what for, and he quit. We didn't call him in to fire him and have a long discussion about it. He says he came to me after the game to talk about what was on his heart. After a long discussion, he and I agreed that the program needed new leadership. The statement went on to say, Coach Hopson has been a part of our program for 10 years. I appreciate his commitment to Southern Miss and wish Jay and his family nothing but the best. Hopson, in a statement, Coach Hopson said, after heartfelt discussion with Jeremy, we've come to a mutual agreement for me to step down as head coach. I am in total agreement with this change in leadership and truly believe it is in the best interest of the players, coaches, and this entire program. I wish Southern Miss nothing but the best and am thankful for all that they have done for me and my family. Let's talk about it right now with somebody who follows this and has been following it much more closely, really, than any of us probably over the last, months and years and all that. His name, Jamie Arrington. He is the host of the To the Top Talk podcast that many of you are familiar with. And he's on your radio right now. Jamie, happy Tuesday to you, even though it feels like Monday. Hope you had a good Labor Day and a long weekend, man. What's up?
Matt, it's so good to hear your beautiful face on the radio. And
well, you know what,
it felt like Labor Day for me since about mid-April. So
yeah, yeah, it really has for the rest of us. I get it. We've had some times over the last few months where we would get here on a Friday, doing the show on a Friday, Jamie, and we'll really be pumped yay, hey, it's Friday, you made it to the weekend, and then we go, well, heck, man, the whole week's felt like Friday because nobody's going to work, so we've all been dealing with this.
Right.
And if you wanted to start your interview in a way that no one else ever has, you just did it by saying, it's so good to hear your beautiful face again on the radio. Attaboy.
I always try to have something just to throw you off.
Well, it did. Who am I? Where am I? What day is this? Okay. Jamie Arrington on your radio. I want to do this, Jamie. If you are talking to someone who is totally uneducated on the situation at Southern Miss leading up to that game the other night, what would you say to them to get them to understand the situation, like the atmosphere in and around the program leading up to that ball game on Thursday night?
Well, first off, I would say that Jay Hopson is a guy that a lot of people love. A lot of people that know him. Heck, I remember sitting in the interview room with you back in 2016 when he first started, and he came in, and that's like when you see press conference Jay and you see Jay in real life. It's he has nicknames for people. It's uncanny. He came in, he was like, Matty Dub, what's going on? How's your pop? All that stuff. It's totally different from what you see at the press conference. So everybody that knows him loves him. He's a guy that was, an assistant coach here, then defensive coordinator here, and came back as head coach. He went through his cancer treatments while he was here at Southern Miss. So he's a guy that a lot of people love and respect. And honestly, he's a guy that a lot of people kind of thought that this would go better than it did.
Mm-hmm.
There were some highs, there were some lows, but there weren't as many highs as you would have expected. I kind of was under the impression that, maybe once he starts getting his players in, year 3, year 4, year 5, that you would start to see things really happen, and that just didn't come to fruition for whatever reason. But if you want to talk about what happened, you look at the past few years. 2016, he was 7-6, won the New Orleans Bowl. 2017, 8-5, we get hammered in the Independence Bowl. 6-5 in 2018, no bowl game. 2019, 7-6 last year, we fall in the bowl game, and then this year, starting off, we fall 32-21 to a South Alabama team that was a 2-touchdown underdog. You look at the 3 previous games to this, towards the end of last season, so with about 2 games left, we were very much in the running, not only to play in the conference championship, but to have a shot at hosting it. Then we run into Western Kentucky and fall 28-10, which is a game that it was pretty evident that we were being outcoached. FAU, the game after that, we took on, Lane Kiffin, who I'm sure your listeners are quite familiar with at this point. Southern Miss fell 34-17. And in those two games, you just kind of felt like there was not an energy there. There was not an enthusiasm there. There were some players that were getting fired up, but it was very sporadic. It wasn't very consistent. The team as a whole just kind of felt stale. And then you look at the bowl game. The Southern Miss comes out, puts up 2 touchdowns right off the bat, takes a 13-0 lead, doesn't score again, and falls to Tulane Green Wave, which is a team that, if you look at the record books, Southern Miss has dominated for a long time. So you throw that in, there was a lot of frustrations heading into the off season. There was a lot of concern from, alumnus, supporters, boosters, etc. And then you get to this off season with COVID, and I think that there were so many uncertainties with COVID. We didn't have, to be fair, we did not have a spring, just like nobody else had a spring. We knew we were going to be one of the first games to come out. We didn't know how this was going to go. But once you start getting into camp, we had 7 players not only opt out of the season, which is totally understandable. I get the risk there. I get, especially with young African-American men, I totally understand why that you would opt out. Some of the guys on the team had family members that suffered some pretty severe circumstances due to COVID. But we had not only these players opt out, they transferred. They entered the transfer portal. And some of these came after the NCAA ruled that players were not going to be, their eligibility for this year was, going to be a wash. It was not going to be taken away from them. So that makes you think there's something internally going on. And you would see, whether it's from, I didn't talk to any players directly, but you could see some outbursts on Twitter that there were a lot of players that just were not happy. Also, College Football Insider, Janita Tyree, a.k.a. my mom, called me on Friday after the game, and the first thing she said was, something looks off with Jay. He looks exhausted. He looks tired. And I think that's a pretty fair assessment. And you think back to this summer, in June, his father passed away.
Right.
And I know that's somebody he was really close with, and I know that weighed on him a lot. So I don't know. It's very odd for this to happen after game 1. I would have thought it would have happened at the end of the season. But I don't know for sure whether it was a forced resignation or if I don't know anything for certain. It seems odd that it would not be forced. But if this is a man that's had a lot on him and just kind of worn out and just for the good of the program, just ready to let it move forward, that very well could have been the case.
Right. I think, I guess looking back on it, too, on that game Thursday night, of course, I'm watching it on TV. There might have been a couple of times where, Jay, I don't know, this is just hindsight perspective, maybe for me, Jamie, watching it on TV. There may be a couple of times where he wasn't as fired up as he maybe normally would be, but other times he was. I just think the big glaring thing in the game Thursday night was, for whatever the cause, guys missing practice on the offensive line because of COVID, not having all your best players, for whatever it was, there was a softness and like a lack of effort on the team that was so glaring that I can understand from a football coach that after that game, he probably didn't even have to watch the film. And before he even got in the car to go home, Jay probably thought to himself, man, whatever we're doing is just not working because that effort ain't going to cut it anywhere. You know what I mean?
Right. It was very disappointing, and it kind of was a thing where you were just hopeful that it would turn around, but I don't know that there was necessarily that gut feeling that it was going to actually turn around. It just kind of felt like, heading into the season, the schedule was pretty favorable to have a really good year. But it didn't necessarily feel like we were going to be favorites this year to win the championship. It felt like another 6, 7, 8 win season.
Yeah, right.
And then it was more than apparent that may be a reach after Thursday night.
Yeah. Well, and I would tell you too, and I mean, Southern Miss fans don't need anybody pander to them. I would just say, there's room for improvement, and you can be encouraged if it's early in the season. I look at like Tennessee last year. Wasn't it last year, Tennessee under Jeremy Pruitt lost that early game to, who was it, Georgia Southern, maybe? Or Georgia State.
Georgia State, I believe you're right.
Yeah, and then I think lost an overtime game to BYU, and, they turned it around and played good football by the end of the year. So, I mean, it can happen. Jamie, you were at the game, right?
I was at the game.
I thought I saw your picture on Twitter there. Is that you and a friend? Y'all were sitting 6 feet apart, had the masks on?
Yeah, that's my co-host, Jason Bailey. We just kind of decided to take a little. We didn't even sit. We sat probably about 3 or 4 rows apart, but we were like, let's just take a pic and just, try to do something kind of funny. But
well, see, y'all. Y'all had the masks on, so I couldn't see the expression on your face, and so therefore I couldn't tell which part of the game that was, early or late. You know what I'm saying?
That was before the game started.
Okay.
Because I don't think that we are fans. We get a little emotional, and I don't think we would have cooperated with a lighthearted picture once we got into the game. So,
right. Sure.
But it was fun. It was fun to get out there, regardless of how frustrating it was. I thought for the most part the fans did a really solid job of distancing, and when they were in transit, wearing their masks. The TV, for the fans that watched on TV, it showed a lot of fans without masks on. But the requirement was once you get in your seat. And I'm a guy I followed this COVID. I don't want to call myself a Corona bro, but that's what some people have. Yeah. Like Clay Travis has thrown that moniker out there, but I've kept up with a lot, and there's some epidemiologists that I've followed, and one of the main points they made is outside it's much more difficult for this virus to transmit. So with people distancing and having the mask off, I think it was fine. And it was brutally hot. I could barely breathe when I did have my mask on. Yeah. So, but I thought for the most part the fans did a really good job of taking the precautions seriously, and it was a great time being back in a college football environment, even though we knew it was going to be different.
Yeah. I think that was the only buzzkill was the outcome of the game. I'm watching it, pulling for Southern Miss on Thursday night, but just seeing it back and familiar names and watching Jack Abraham throw it around, it was so good to be back, and I know it was for you too. I guess there was no tailgating going on though, right?
No tailgating. That was a mandate from the governor, but probably for the best. Yeah. But so there wasn't really much activity. I didn't park in my parking spot. I was able to find a place closer than my Booster Club parking spot. Just getting there an hour before the game. So
sure, yeah. Well, with a couple of minutes left here, Jamie Arrington, host of the To the Top Talk podcast on your radio right now. You'll need to follow him on Twitter. It's just Jamie_Arrington and subscribe to his podcast. They do a great job following Southern Miss throughout the year and have done that for years. Jamie. So going forward, Scotty Walden, interim head coach, co-offensive coordinator. People excited, about that? I know he's really young.
He's very young. I think Scotty's a guy that a lot of people are excited about. And I think now you kind of throw expectations out the window. So I think that will make it, if we don't win a lot of games, it's kind of expected now given the changes in the circumstances. And, if we do, it'll obviously be a great audition for him if he wants this job permanently. But Scotty's a guy that's been talked about as one of these young hotshot guys that really has a future in this profession. He was the youngest NCAA head coach back in 2016 at age 26 with Division III East Texas Baptist University. Just rattle off a couple of stats here. 7-3 as a head coach. They put up 49.9 points per game. 564.3 yards per game, and 365 of those yards through the air. So that's the kind of offense that we're a little more accustomed to here. Yeah. And I don't know if he's going to shake things up or not, or if he's just going to try to maintain. It'll definitely be interesting to see how that plays out, but definitely a lot of people excited about Scotty Walden. A very, very personable, energetic guy. If you talk to him, you can't help but love the guy. I think he's I'll be curious to see what he's able to do.
Hey, and talking about, coaches giving out nicknames the way you said Coach Hobson would, this would be the first time in your life, your young life, Jamie, where you can say to the head coach and call him kid if you want to. Attaboy kid,
Right. Yeah, I've got him beat by 11 years. So that's definitely a first.
Yeah, isn't that something?
And then I've got Tom Brady still playing his slightly older than me, and yeah, it's bananas. It really is.
It really is. Well, okay, so off this week, and then Thursday a week. So the 19th, not this Thursday, but the next, going to host Louisiana Tech. So he's got the better part of 2 weeks to try to get him ready for his first game as head coach.
I believe that's a Saturday night game.
Oh, is it? Okay, I said Thursday. Okay, Saturday. Yeah,
and
that's
it has been moved. It has been moved to ESPN2 as well. So
okay,
definitely a chance for redemption on national television.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, a lot of people be watching that. I mean, it's one of the major storylines out here in college football right now with everything that's going on. Hey, Jamie, listen, really do appreciate it the day after Labor Day here, and what is not necessarily a fun time for a Southern Miss fan, but still got new horizons out there. I do appreciate your time, man. It's good to hear your voice.
Thank you, Matt. Likewise, man. Talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon. Thank you. That's Jamie Arrington. Like I said, y'all should follow that podcast. They do a great job, and Jamie's a stand-up comedian. He's a really funny guy as well. To the Top Talk is the name of that podcast. He is Jamie Arrington, Jamie_Arrington on Twitter. Y'all give him a follow. So it's a tough situation. They had a winning record under Jay Hopson. They had a bowl win. They had good times. He and the administration just felt like after that effort on Thursday night, it was time to part ways. Better for him, better for them. I think Southern Miss will be fine, and I know Jay's going to be fine. He's a winner, heck of a football coach, very well respected. He'll land on his feet almost immediately if that's the route he chooses to go. Just getting started with you. Stick around.
Farm Bureau Insurance stands ready to provide financial relief to our communities in this time of crisis. This includes a one-time credit to all personal auto policyholders, a donation of $500,000 to the Mississippi Food Network, and additional payment options for those hit the hardest, all while continuing to service customer claims as well. But this is the time to go above and beyond. These are a few ways we're keeping the Farm Bureau promise. To learn more, talk to your agent or visit us online. Go with the home team.
Every farmer understands their farm can't thrive without some good partners like sun, soil, and rain. And farmers in North Mississippi also rely on another important partner, Mississippi Land Bank, because land and farm financing are Mississippi Land Bank's primary focus. We've grown alongside these farmers' crops for more than 100 years. We understand what a farmer needs, and we know the lay of the land in North Mississippi, and that's where I stand.
Bull. There's a lot of that out there in the wireless world. But C Spire believes that you deserve a plan that is what it actually says it is. Here's the real deal. The best plan for 1 or 2 lines. Unlimited talk and text with 10 gigabytes of high-speed data. And here's the real deal. $45 per line with auto pay and paperless billing. Even without auto pay, it's just $50. Now, how's that for the fine print? No bull. That's the real deal. Switch to C Spire today at cspire.com/real deal. C Spire, customer inspired. Man, that sounds like summertime in Mississippi, doesn't it? You know what else just screams summertime in Mississippi? Country Pleasin' sausage from Country Meat Packers in Florence. Check me out. Jalapeno and cheddar. Just got it at Kroger in Tupelo where I live. On grocery store shelves throughout the Southeast. Cut it up, throw it in the frying pan. Put it on a bun. Get some andouille, make some gumbo. It is the best sausage you've ever put in your mouth. Country Pleasin' sausage, countrypleasin.com. It is made up of hand-picked hams, bacon, and pork loin. That's why it tastes so good. I even got this cool hat from them. Check them out. Go by the butcher shop there in Florence, or order it online, or look for it in grocery stores. Walk up in there and say, Country Pleasin', please.
lot of people in the equipment world, things kind of go in trends, I guess, if you want to say it. So kind of the first big thing for 2020 that we look at when we start evaluating our business is going to be our turf equipment. That's kind of the first big push, because once everything, the water dries up and the grass starts growing, this is what everybody's looking to get. We carry the new Wright stand-up mower. Doesn't look like much, and it's dirty as all get out. But this thing is, and it costs just as much as zero turn. Not a cheap unit at all. I mean, if you go out there and look at that zero turn, this thing right here, I mean, it's got all your components from your big pumps to your commercial engine to your large steel deck. And these guys were the first ones to make the standard mower.
Hey, are you buying land or
If he's
selling
not
it?
talking
You need
sports,
to let Matt
he's fishing for bass, okay? But he's right here, right now. Online at 1059.com and on your radio at ESPN 105.9, The Zone.
All right, back with you. Here we go. We're really just getting started here today on this Tuesday. I appreciate you tuning in the Farm Bureau studio. Farm Bureau Insurance. Go with the home team. They are your home team at Farm Bureau. I'm Matt. JB is here. Most importantly, you are here. Appreciate you listening, however you're listening and wherever you're listening from. Hi to everybody on Facebook who's sending in messages and commenting and so on and so forth on Facebook live stream. Caleb watching on Periscope said it's been a tough last few months for Jay Hobson. Lost his father in late June. Now no longer a head coach. That's right. It has been a tough few months. And they had another tragedy in their family on his wife's side of the family before that, earlier in the year. So they've had a lot. They really have. Jesse on Periscope says hi. Pamela on Facebook says the 19th is on a Saturday. I know that because it's my 63rd birthday. Well, happy early birthday. About a week and a half out or more. The 19th and that Saturday night is when Southern Miss is going to host Louisiana Tech. That'll be their next ball game. And SSL watching on the YouTube live stream said, what happened at Southern Miss? South Alabama showed up, was ready to play, and had something to prove, period. The end. Guess, they did. On their side of it, they showed up and were ready to play. And look, we know that Steve Campbell's a good football coach. He's been good wherever he's been. And they will be good at South Alabama again. Took them a little bit of a while to maybe kind of get their feet under them, but that is certainly the way that it looks to me. Bates on the Country Pleasing text line. If y'all want to text me, go right on ahead and do it. I'd love to see your text today. 885-ESPN or 885-3776. That's the Country Pleasing Sausage text line, 885-3776. Bates says, it's week 4 of football, talking about high school football. As my boys are looking to go 4-0, can you please play Coming to America by the Sonic Boom? Well, why not? Why not give them what they want? You bet, Bates. I appreciate you texting me. You're right. And so since it's week 4 in high school, we got week 3 scores. And I think I'll go over some of those with you right now. Why not? Hogjow says he just left Country Pleasing. What? Hogjow just went to Country Meat Packers in Florence and he sent us a video. He took a video inside the store. He's loading his buggy. Anthony from Tupelo said, I hope State's defense looks better than Navy's did last night. Oh, my goodness. Swiss cheese. I'm telling you, look, that's what you get when you don't practice football the way you're supposed to practice it. If you're going to play a football game, you must tackle full speed. You must block full speed in practice. That's the only way to get ready for a game. You saw the result last night. What happens when you don't do it? Navy didn't hit each other in practice. They didn't tackle each other in practice. They didn't block each other in practice. And it was almost dangerous for them to be on that field with BYU at one point last night. And I'll say this. I understand that they're dealing with stuff that nobody's ever had to deal with before. You sort of get a pass. Ken Niumatalolo at Navy, you sort of get a pass. You're dealing with something you've never had to really deal with before. A pandemic, you don't know. I mean, should I, shouldn't I? We're just trying. I get it. But word to the wise for everybody in the future. If you're going to play a game, there's simply one way you got to practice. If you can't practice that way, don't go play a game. That was almost criminal to run that team from Navy out there last night, having not tackled each other, hit each other, blocked each other in practice, because that's what you get.
And to say what you're saying is a huge statement, because you would have to figure that those guys at the Naval Academy are in excellent physical shape, right?
Yeah. Well,
So,
I mean, they are.
You can be in excellent physical shape, but not be in football shape.
It's totally different, JB. It is totally. You know, anybody who's ever gone through a week of football practice knows you can run and lift all summer long, and you better. But, buddy, when practice starts and you start actually having contact with each other, it's a whole, they talk about football shape. That's what they mean, football shape. It's a whole different animal. It's just entirely different. Week 3 high school football scores in the state of Mississippi. I went to the Amory-Caledonia game. Amory beat them 44-33. Shootout in Monroe County. It was a beautiful night. It was hot as all get out. I was running 3 cameras. JB, you should have seen me, man. Well, 4. Including the drone, I ran 4 cameras for my project. And so one.
I saw some of the highlights, man. That's amazing, though.
Thank you. Yeah, I have one, large camera on a monopod to offer a little support. One clipped onto my shoulder, another on a strap in case I needed it for wide angle stuff, and then we ran the drone some too. So it didn't take me, like by halftime, I was wringing wet with sweat. And guess what? Going to do it again this Friday night at Tupelo also. So that was a big one. In the Metro, you had Clinton go 30-7 over Brandon. Surprised by that one? Everybody's pretty much surprised by that, right?
I thought it'd be a close game, but I was giving Brandon the nod just because they're playing at home.
Yeah.
But evidently Judd Boswell's got some pretty talented boys.
Germantown put up 38 on Canton. So there's that.
That's not surprising.
Not surprising, huh? How about Hattiesburg and Laurel? What do they call it? The battle for the little brown jug or something like that?
That's it.
Hattiesburg 26, Laurel 12. I don't know if that's an upset, but it's a heck of a ball game. I know that much. I could go through every last one of these scores and people probably listen. Madison Central 31-20 over Northwest Rankin. Is that what you expected there?
Yeah. I think Northwest's got a pretty good talented team.
Yeah.
But I'd have to say in that particular division, MC's probably.
Yeah.
They're probably the top notch.
Don't look now, but Oak Grove put up 52 on Gulfport. 52-29 Oak Grove over Gulfport. Oxford a winner. They're one of the ranked teams, I believe. 37-20 over Grenada. Let's see, what else? Ocean Springs out on the coast beat Moss Point 26-15. If you were listening last week, you remember that Moss Point has put more people in the NFL than any other high school in the state of Mississippi. I think it's 18 former Moss Point players that played in the NFL at one time or another. Kind of interesting nugget. Man, listen, JB, up here in our neck of the woods, in Rogers' old stomping grounds, we had an unbelievable ball game.
Pontotoc?
Yes. Did you hear about it?
I have not.
Yeah. In overtime, Pontotoc 38, New Albany 35.
Oh, my.
A field goal was the winner.
A kicker made the difference.
That's right. And just trivia here, Jeff Carter, the former Ole Miss All-SEC defensive back in the late 80s, is the head coach at Pontotoc now. Yeah, Jeff Carter. South Panola got a little scare from Hernando. I don't know what's going on up in DeSoto County, but Hernando DeSoto almost pulled it off. South Panola 14, Hernando 13. And the big game, really, I think, for the state was Starkville, a 40-28 winner over West Point. I don't know that anybody's surprised that Starkville won it.
I am.
Well, a lot of people
West
are.
Point lost the game.
Right. And West Point's going to go win their class this year, most likely. But what I was told, and we're going to talk with Robbie Falk later in the show, who covered the game on Friday night for the Starkville Daily News. What I was told by someone who was there, Luke Altmaier, the quarterback for Starkville High School, who's committed to Florida State, had an unbelievable game. And that if he had played the entire game, like they took their foot off the gas at one point, Starkville did.
Wow.
And they said if he had played the whole game, then Starkville could have scored 100 points in the ballgame had they wanted to. That's what I was told by someone who was there. Warren Central beat Vicksburg 17-zip. Big win for the Morgan boys over there at Warren Central. Just a few of the scores. What happened in the MAIS on Friday night?
JA and MRA had a pretty tight game in the first half. But,
Did they?
Second half, it was all MRA.
Okay, 20-10, the final?
Yeah, it was 10-6 at halftime, if I'm correct in my memory.
So what? Leak beats JA and turns around and beats Lamar by 1 point, 26-25.
Right. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
They say them boys in Madden got some game with them this year.
Yeah, apparently so. Okay, so there's a few of your scores. Let me see what was said over here. What did Miko say? Miko said, he said on the text line at 885 ESPN, I may have missed it. He wanted me to ask my guest who would be next in line or the candidates for the Southern Miss job. Well, Miko, Danny's watching on the live stream right now on YouTube. A minute ago, Danny said rumors that Hugh Freeze may be a candidate to be the new Southern Miss coach. Let me just put it to you this way. Danny and Miko, listen. You have an opening. Jay and Southern Miss decide to part ways after one game. Some people in the media, their natural job is to, I guess, put out a list, get a lot of clicks for a potential replacement list and all this. And you got to put names on there if you want anybody to be interested in it. Literally, nobody knows who the legitimate candidates are right now. Nobody knows. Going into last Thursday night, the administration at Southern Miss had Jay Hobson as a head coach. He went to them after the ball game to expedite this deal of their departure. They weren't sitting there with a candidate lined up, nor a list. You find out on Monday, Labor Day, nobody's working. You find out on Labor Day that it's a split. And somebody puts out a list right then. You know how realistic all that list is? Let me give you a sound effect. That's how realistic it is. Now, you can draw certain conclusions, automatically just go, well, it seems like Will Hall would be a candidate because he's from Mississippi and he'd love to be a head coach and he's coaching as an assistant right now at Tulane. Absolutely. Well, it seems like Hugh Freeze, since he's from Mississippi, he went to Southern Miss, would be you can cross that bridge. But let me ask you this. Is Hugh Freeze, who's making $2 million a year at Liberty, is he going to take $1.5 million cut to come coach at Southern Miss? Jay Hobbs was making $500,000 a year at Southern Miss. Of anybody on that list, Will Hall makes sense. A lot of them don't even make sense. So, in reality, we can have our opinions. I know that Will Hall could do a good job, but somebody puts out a list, he doesn't know. His list is no better than your list, and I promise you that. Are we supposed to be in a break right now, JB, or is it?
We're waiting for about 30 seconds,
okay.
So you got 30 seconds, pal.
I think my clock is off on my deal here in the studio. I don't know if the power quit or what, so I'm a little bit off. I'm trying to guess.
We've had a couple surges here this morning since I've been here. So
have you?
Yeah. Surges? Yeah, like not the guy from Beverly Hills Cop.
That's what I was thinking. Let's see. What does it say? Unnamed texter here said, watch Seth Malden from Seminary.
3, 2, and
y'all stick around.
Farm Bureau Insurance stands ready to provide financial relief to our communities in this time of crisis. This includes a one-time credit to all personal auto policyholders, a donation of $500,000 to the Mississippi Food Network, and additional payment options for those hit the hardest, all while continuing to service customer claims as well. But this is the time to go above and beyond. These are a few ways we're keeping the Farm Bureau promise. To learn more, talk to your agent or visit us online. Go with the home team.
Every farmer understands their farm can't thrive without some good partners like sun, soil, and rain. And farmers in North Mississippi also rely on another important partner, Mississippi Land Bank, because land and farm financing are Mississippi Land Bank's primary focus. We've grown alongside these farmers' crops for more than 100 years. We understand what a farmer needs, and we know the lay of the land in North Mississippi, and that's where I stand.
Bull. There's a lot of that out there in the wireless world. But C Spire believes that you deserve a plan that is what it actually says it is. Here's the real deal. The best plan for 1 or 2 lines. Unlimited talk and text with 10 gigabytes of high-speed data. And here's the real deal. $45 per line with auto pay and paperless billing. Even without auto pay, it's just $50. Now, how's that for the fine print? No bull. That's the real deal. Switch to C Spire today at cspire.com/real deal. C Spire, customer inspired. Man, that sounds like summertime in Mississippi, doesn't it? You know what else just screams summertime in Mississippi? Country Pleasing sausage from Country Meat Packers in Florence. Check me out. Jalapeno and cheddar. Just got it at Kroger in Tupelo where I live. On grocery store shelves throughout the Southeast. Cut it up, throw it in the frying pan. Put it on.
And it's streaming right now online at thezone1059.com and on your radio on ESPN 105.9. The Zone.
Back on the show. I'm Matt in the Farm Bureau Insurance Studio. Farm Bureau, go! With the home team. Wearing my snazzy cowbell shirt from the Mississippi State University golf course. Check it out. Right, so JB, if you're in Start, we'll go to the Mississippi State University golf course. But if you're in the Metro, go to Live Oaks, right?
That's right, man.
Got it.
That's right.
We got you covered.
Got some great greens at Live Oaks right now, man. Rolling really, really fine.
Oh, good.
That's about all I can do is putt.
Yeah, it's a whole getting on the green thing there that's
yeah.
the problem for us hacks. All right, y'all. Text me today, 885-ESPN. That's a country pleasing sausage text line. JB, I had Annabeth put in an order at Kroger at the end of last week, and it included extra packages of country pleasing sausage.
Right.
A few other ingredients, including navy beans for this soup thing. Remember that came up last week?
I do remember that.
Okay, well, you know, the real dried navy beans, not the canned kind, and the sausage had the stuff. And I'm not joking you. We go through the weekend. I'm doing other stuff. Last night, it's like 6 o'clock.
About your bedtime.
Well, yeah, right. And the game's going to start at 7, I think. Navy and BYU. And I was going to make this thing with navy beans and country pleasing jalapeno and cheddar sausage. And I totally forgot it. Just completely and utterly forgot it. Annabeth, opened the cupboard. Is that the right word for it? The pantry. And she goes, well, I guess you forgot about this navy bean thing, huh? I went, I sure did. It's the first I've thought of it. I was even talking to Henry. Y'all know Henry Cooper from Country Meat Packers, Country Pleasing Sausage. He's the man over there. And I even told him about it. I said, hey, I'm going to do this thing on Monday for the Navy BYU game. It's going to have sausage and navy beans in it. We're going to put it on social media. He's like, oh, okay, cool. Smooth forgot it. Completely forgot it. And at the time we finally realized it, when I finally realized it was way too late to do anything.
Why don't you just do it Thursday night for the Chiefs and the Titans?
Now you're talking. Yeah, you got NFL football back this week. Hallelujah.
Yeah, I'm actually getting to a flag fantasy football league this year. First time ever.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the guys at the course are putting a, whatever you call it.
Yeah.
A fantasy football club together.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to get my youngest son to help me with the draft, though, because he knows more about more the NFL players than I do.
Yeah, that's great. I'm glad that the games are here. I tell you what, you know how a lot of people, they'll sync the radio broadcast with TV for college games? I do the same thing for the NFL. I have an app. It's just called Pro Football, like the Pro Football Radio app. And it gives you links to every radio station out there that is streaming an NFL radio crew broadcasting the games. And so
That's pretty cool.
It is cool. It is cool. So I'll sync them up. So I'll do that.
So if you're watching the Eagles and the Cowboys and you want to hear the Cowboys home station,
yep,
you just link it up. And
link it up. Just open that app and go to Philadelphia. You know, it'll have all the teams. And just pick one that's working that particular night. You can do. So Mitch Holthus is a longtime play-by-play announcer on the radio for the Chiefs, and his kind of signature thing. It's a little bit. Gosh, I probably shouldn't say this. He's a huge Chiefs fan, okay? But it's a little bit contrived. It's a little bit like the guy down in Florida where he always goes, I don't even remember his name, but the guy down at Florida who on the radio always goes, "Oh, my!" And you know it's a little contrived. He's looking for an opportunity to say it sort of thing.
Right.
You know? And
radio people have to have good personalities.
They do. Right? And Mitch, for the Chiefs games, his deal is, and he's had a bunch of these here lately, he goes, "Touchdown, Kansas City!" and look, anybody who's ever heard one of those Chiefs games on the radio knows what I'm talking about. Like, it's way sort of
over the top.
Yeah. I'm glad you jumped in there. It's over the top. Okay. It just is. But I love it. You like it if you're a fan of it. If you're not a fan of it, you hate it. It's like all the Florida fans love hearing that guy at Florida go, "Oh, my!" And if you're not a Florida fan, you can't stand it.
Yeah.
Kind of the way that works. A couple things here real quick on the text line, and then we got a new thing I want to do here with you. We're going to do this going forward for different matchups. Now that we're kind of getting the heat of it, you got ACC football this weekend. You have Big 12 football. You do have NFL. We got some more of this stuff coming your way, where we're going to look at a head-to-head matchup between two teams playing this weekend and what the series history is and what we can learn about it going into the ballgame. Might make it a little more interesting for us to watch it this weekend. So that's coming up in about 2 minutes. First up, though, the real Eric here on the Country Pleasing text line says, "Matt, your videos are top quality. I can see you starting a high school football documentary on YouTube or something similar." Yeah, actually, that's the plan, Eric, but it takes a long time. That's one thing I'm learning. Like, you know, the whole docu world. I mean, there's nothing you do in a week or a month. I mean, it takes sometimes a really long time. Thank you for your compliment. I really appreciate it. Sean says, "Matt, wasn't Brian Newberry, the Navy defensive coordinator, a candidate for the DC at Mississippi State for Leach?" Yes, he was. He was a legit candidate. They obviously went with Arnett. But here's the thing about it. Newberry is a really good coach. Their defenses at Navy would back that up. That you saw last night is not the real Navy defense. It's just not. That is a football team who didn't practice the way you're supposed to practice. They didn't tackle each other because of COVID. They didn't block each other because of COVID. They only did it with dummies. And that's a joke. You cannot play a game when you practice that way. And even though it's Navy, with highly trained, disciplined, physically conditioned athletes, that's the result you're going to get. If the University of Alabama practiced the entire preseason without tackling each other and without blocking each other, they will get run off the field too. Their defense will look awful as well. Trust me on that. I'm not saying Navy's Alabama. I'm saying you can't play a game if you haven't practiced tackling and blocking live people. Dummies don't move. People do. You have to practice it. What that decision by Navy to practice that way and still go play was a disservice to every player in their uniform. And it was a poor decision by their administration and their coaching staff. Now, I know we're in a COVID world. I know that. But I'll stand by that statement. All righty. Let's take a look at something, shall we? on our head-to-head matchup preview, the first of which we're doing on this show. The head-to-head matchup preview presented by Matt Anderson Properties with National Land Realty can help you buy or sell that piece of property. The Land 360-degree interactive drone touring, you can see the property you're considering buying without ever setting foot on it. It's really cool. And if you're selling property, Matt will get you comprehensive internet traffic reports. You can see who's looking, where they live, how long they looked at the listing, all that stuff. That's Matt Anderson Properties with National Land Realty. Call him at 601-408-5155, 408-5155. This matchup, head-to-head for this weekend, is Duke versus North Carolina. Duke versus North Carolina. I just thought we'd take a look at it because it's not Duke versus North Carolina. It's Duke versus Notre Dame. Sorry, I was reading the wrong deal here. Syracuse plays North Carolina. No, this is Duke playing Notre Dame this weekend. Now, here's what you need to know. Those two teams are going to play this weekend unless something happens between now and then. Those two teams have only played each other a grand total of 6 times in the history of their programs. Okay, and yes, Notre Dame does have the overall edge. Notre Dame in those 6 meetings with Duke all time have won 4 of the 6. Get this. They played each other in 1961. Duke won the ball game. 37-13 back in 1961. Do you know, JB, who the coach at Duke was in 1961?
In 1961?
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't.
It was a guy named Bill Murray.
Really?
Yeah, his name was Bill Murray.
Get out.
Anyway, the first time...
That's the fact, Jack.
That's the fact. The first time they ever played, 1961, Duke won it. They played again in 66, and Notre Dame beat Duke 64-0. That was in 67. They did not play again until 2007 in South Bend, Indiana. Notre Dame won that one 28-7 over Duke. Then they played a few years ago in 2016 in South Bend. Y'all remember that was the huge upset for David Cutcliffe. Duke went to South Bend, beat Notre Dame and Brian Kelly 38-35 back in 2016. They played last year in Durham, North Carolina, and Notre Dame won that one 38-7. A little tongue-tied in that segment. We're going to do that some every day on the show. We'll take a different matchup that's going to happen in the weekend. And all of that information comes from a really cool website called Winsipedia. Just go to Winsipedia.com. You can look at any matchup. They'll have the big matchups for the week on the front page, but you can type in any 2 teams and look at their historical data. But they're at Winsipedia.com. They tell us Notre Dame and Duke this weekend. This will be the 7th all-time meeting. Duke has won 4 out of the... Notre Dame has won 4 out of the previous 6, including the one last year. And that head-to-head matchup preview brought to you by Matt Anderson Properties with National Land Realty. Hour 2 coming up. We'll start it off with a phone call from Hattiesburg. Y'all stick around.
There's a lot of
Farm Bureau Insurance stands ready to provide financial relief to our communities in this time of crisis. This includes a one-time credit to all personal auto policyholders, a donation of $500,000 to the Mississippi Food Network, and additional payment options for those hit the hardest, all while continuing to service customer claims as well. But this is the time to go above and beyond. These are a few ways we're keeping the Farm Bureau promise. To learn more, talk to your agent or visit us online. Go with the home team.
Every farmer understands their farm can't thrive without some good partners like sun, soil, and rain. And farmers in North Mississippi also rely on another important partner, Mississippi Land Bank, because land and farm financing are Mississippi Land Bank's primary focus. We've grown alongside these farmers' crops for more than 100 years. We understand what a farmer needs, and we know the lay of the land in North Mississippi, and that's where I stand.
Bull. There's a lot of that out there in the wireless world. But C Spire believes that you deserve a plan that is what it actually says it is. Here's the real deal. The best plan for 1 or 2 lines. Unlimited talk and text with 10 gigabytes of high-speed data. And here's the real deal. $45 per line with auto pay and paperless billing. Even without auto pay, it's just $50. Now, how's that for the fine print? No bull. That's the real deal. Switch to C Spire today at cspire.com/real deal. C Spire, customer inspired. Man, that sounds like summertime in Mississippi, doesn't it? You know what else just screams summertime in Mississippi? Country Pleasing Sausage from Country Meat Packers in Florence. Check me out. Jalapeno and cheddar. Just got it at Kroger in Tupelo where I live. On grocery store shelves throughout the Southeast. Cut it up, throw it in the frying pan. Put it on a bun. Get some andouille, make some gumbo. It is the best sausage you've ever put in your mouth. Country Pleasing Sausage, countrypleasing.com. It is made up of hand-picked hams, bacon, and pork loin. That's why it tastes so good. I even got this cool hat from them. Check them out. Go by the butcher shop there in Florence, or order it online, or look for it in grocery stores. Walk up in there and say, Country Pleasing, please.
A lot of people in the equipment world, things kind of go in trends, I guess, if you want to say it. So kind of the first big thing for 2020 that we look at when we start evaluating our business is going to be our turf equipment. That's kind of the first big push, because once the water dries up and the grass starts growing, this is what everybody's looking to get. We carry the new Wright stand-up mower. Doesn't look like much, and it's dirty as all get out. But this thing is, and it costs just as much as zero turn. Not a cheap unit at all. I mean, if you go out there and look at that zero turn, this thing right here, I mean, it's got all your components from your big pumps to your commercial engine to your large steel deck. And these guys were the first ones to make the standard mower.
Hey, are you buying land or selling it? You need to let Matt Anderson with National Land Realty help you out. Matt Anderson Properties. Here's what Matt can do. If you're buying land, you can view the property without ever setting foot on it. They've got the 360-degree interactive drone touring. It's really cool. You got to check it out. And if you're selling property, Matt's going to get you consistent reports, comprehensive reports of who's looking, how many people looked at your listing. You need to let him help you. Matt Anderson Properties with National Land Realty. Call him, 601-408-5155. Hey, if you listen to the show, you know that the new third hour of the Matt Wyatt Show is brought to you by Overstreet Properties in Starkville. Here's what you need to know. If you're looking for a weekend home or condo, full-time residence, investment property, maybe just an apartment to lease, you got a student going to school at state, call Kane Overstreet at Overstreet Properties. In Starkville, it's 323-8618, or look them up online, overstreetproperties.com.
It's time to get back to the Matt Wyatt Show.
Live in the studio.
Online at thezone1059.com and on your radio at ESPN 105.9 The Zone.
All right, back with you, hour 2. Let's roll, in the Farm Bureau Insurance studio. Farm Bureau Insurance, go! With the home team. They are your hometown heroes, your local Farm Bureau Insurance agents across the state of Mississippi, right there in your hometown, your home communities, people you can deal with one-on-one, face-to-face. It's somebody you already know who's from right there. They got family right in town just like you. So hit them up, Farm Bureau Insurance. And staying connected to you here around the clock, not just while I'm on the air, but also off the air. I'm texting and uploading and posting and streaming and I don't know what else, Instagramming. Thanks to C Spire, the #1 network in Mississippi. C Spire, customer inspired. JB, do we still have Patrick hanging on?
We sure do.
Man. Great. Let's get Patrick, who's listening in Hattiesburg today, and hung on with us through the break on the Davini Equipment phone line, 995-1059. Thanks for calling, Patrick. What's up?
Hey, Matt. It's nice to be on your show. I've been meaning to call you for a long time and talk a little Mississippi State football. Close personal friend with Jackie Sherrill myself. Actually got his phone number.
There you go. Text him and tell him that number 7 said hello. He'll know.
I should do that. The last time I had a talk with Coach Sherrill, we was talking about the passing of Emery Ballard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we're talking about the Alabama game when they upset Alabama. But anyway, that's not what I called for, Matt.
Okay.
I called to talk about USM football. But before I talk about USM football, I want to highlight 2 Mississippi guys.
Okay.
That we should watch in the NFL this year, rookies. Did Van Jefferson go to Ole Miss at one time?
Yeah. He started there, right?
And then transferred to Florida?
Yeah, that's right. And then went to Florida, yep.
Okay. They are saying Van Jefferson is tearing up camp for the Rams.
Right.
So they said, watch out for Van Jefferson to do big things. Another guy they definitely saying looking to do big things they're high on is Cam Akers. Mm-hmm. And he's a running back for the Rams as well. So I just wanted to point that out.
Right.
I've heard some national media talk about those 2 players.
Yeah, I have too. I've seen a lot of tweets from media who cover the NFL and cover the Rams about Van Jefferson, plays that he was making. And to add to what you're saying, Patrick, I saw where there was an interview with Aaron Donald, one of the best players in the NFL, their defensive tackle. And the Rams media said, what about young guys? Anybody stand out? And he immediately said that young wide receiver, Van Jefferson. And so I think that's what it is. He's made plays. He's earned respect. And the Rams are going to start their season on this Sunday night, hosting the Cowboys.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hey, that's a way to come on out. That's a coming out party.
Anyway, it will be for somebody, for sure.
All right. Yeah, he always did make big plays. But anyway, Cam, wish him luck too. Matt, about the USM situation.
Mm-hmm.
Here's my take on it. Okay. I would love, first of all, I like Coach Hopson. I have a lot of respect for him. I thought the turning point in that relationship, Matt, and I want you to chime in if you remember. I think when they tried, what's the coach that coached at Baylor? The head coach that got into all that trouble?
Yeah.
I can't think of his name.
Art Briles.
Coach Briles.
Yep.
Here was the situation. I think when he mentioned bringing in Art Briles, I think the powers to be, the alumni and the president, I think they kind of put him on a slippery slope. He had to do big things at USM after that. Mm-hmm. I thought that was a remarkable idea and foresight. Now, I know Art Briles did a bad thing at Baylor, but he was coming into the Bible Belt, Matt Wyatt. Hattiesburg is the Bible Belt. They could have put any kind of clause in his contract that he needed to go to church or something like that. That's just my little take on it.
Mm-hmm.
And that would have brought in some prestige and would have brought in a way to recruit, because the man knows football. Regardless of what he did at Baylor, he knows football. And here's another thing, Matt, and trying to wrap this up. When you have a situation like that, you have to be able to take chances. Now, who would have ever thought that your football coach right now at Mississippi State would with VS State, much less the SEC. His name has been mentioned a lot of times, and he's a highly profiled coach. And I hope the Mississippi State alumni will be patient with this coach. The man, Mike Leach, is a winner, and that's the same way I thought Hobson was thinking out of the box. I thought that was great foresight to bring Browse in, just like the Ole Miss coach Luke brought in those guys for that 1 year, McIntyre and Rodriguez. I mean, either one of them coaches could have been a head coach. Matt Luke had Ole Miss's best interest. I'm sorry it fell on him, same way it fell on Hobson. I think those are two similar situations in a weird kind of way. Talk to me, Matt.
Yeah. Patrick, I appreciate the call. And I think you're on to that. You know, they're just a disconnect can happen for a lot of different reasons. You know, and there are a lot of people who point to that situation where Jay, you know, talked to and maybe I don't know if it went as far as it was an interview or they brought him on campus or any of that kind of stuff. I just know that then the rumors of that courtship made it out into the public, and when it did, I think maybe there's some people at the university who didn't know about it, and kind of, you know how it is on a university, like the whole hierarchy thing. There are people up the chain that want to know everything, and if they don't, they feel slighted, and they got big old fat egos, and they don't need to feel slighted. You know, sometimes that happens in those things. So could that have been the genesis of a disconnect? Yeah, sure it could have. Patrick, I appreciate your call, and I really appreciate you listening in Hattiesburg. Call me anytime. It's good to hear your voice again, Patrick. Remember hearing from him a bunch. All right, hey, let me flip the switch for you right now. This is going back to Friday night. A little bit ago, we went through some of the scores. I think without question across the state of Mississippi in high school football, the big score that everybody was talking about anyway, at least, you know, in terms of the one that everybody kind of went, whoa, how about that, was Starkville, West Point. Starkville 40, West Point 28. We know what West Point is. What is it now? 5 titles? And then we know Starkville. Not anybody's really like super duper surprised Starkville won the game. It's a big rivalry. Starkville's good. They've got players. It's just 40-28 with people telling you, hey, man, if they'd left the quarterback in, they could have scored 100. Kind of in blowout fashion. You know, 12 points is a blowout for that West Point team. Let's talk about it right now with somebody who was there. Robbie Falk, who covered the game for the Starkville Daily News. Y'all can follow him on Twitter. Y'all followed his Mississippi State coverage over the years. And he's on your radio right now. First time for Robbie to be on the show in a pretty good little while, I believe. Robbie, really do appreciate some time. Good to talk to you. Hope you had a great Labor Day.
Yeah, man. Had a good one. Enjoyed some country-pleasing sausage and chicken and a little bit of football. It was a good day.
Yes, sir. It sounds like it. You know, you can't go wrong with country-pleasing sausage. I was telling JB I had some I was going to fix last night, a dish with Navy beans for the Navy versus BYU game, and I smooth forgot it. Got a whole bag of Navy beans still sitting in the pantry down there. I'll have to pull it out later in the week. What about on Friday night? What'd you eat at the ball game on Friday night, huh?
I had some Zaxby's chicken wings.
Do they sell those at the stadium, or you got them on the way there?
No. So listen, Starkville is one of the few places where they actually give the media food, and I'm very appreciative of that. On Friday nights, we always have chicken wings or, you know, something like that, and they had us a bag of goodies up there. So, you know, I've been to Brandon does that, Clinton, you know, all the big schools really do that, and I understand, you know, it's tough to account for media and stuff like that, but I really do appreciate that. They had us a little box of Zaxby's.
Very cool.
I tore those wings up, man. me and Bud Bowen up there, the voice of the West Point Green Wave.
That's it. I'm looking forward to seeing Bud up in the stands at Tupelo this Friday night. He is a hoot, a hoo-hoo mercy hoot. You know what I'm saying?
He'll be there.
Yeah.
He doesn't miss a game, I tell you that. And he admitted to me he was a little nervous about the game on Friday night because Starkville and West Point usually have a couple of weeks to prepare for each other. And, you know, they just did not know what they had at West Point going into that ball game because every year they're seeing a lot of turnover. But I talked to you a little bit about this. West Point just has this system in place where they just continuously reload, and that's so hard to do. But when you create a culture like that within the coaching staff and the community, it's actually an easy thing to do on the surface. I mean, they have the system in place and guys follow it. But yeah, they were a little nervous about what to expect from the team. But I think, talking to Chris Chambliss today, I think he came out of that game and felt a little bit better about his team.
Right. Well, that's interesting. Robbie Falk on your radio. So we're talking about this game Friday night in Starkville. Starkville winning 40-28 over West Point. So, Robbie, you mentioned Bud Bowen, a long time kind of iconic high school radio voice for West Point on the radio, that he was a little nervous about the game going into it. So for you, and well, let's just talk from your perspective. 40-28 the final. Where does that land on the surprise scale for you? Like, scale of 1 to 10, how surprised were you to see that outcome?
I thought that Starkville would be a couple of touchdowns better.
Really?
Just because, yeah, I really did. And the reason I say that is Starkville has returning players at key spots, at leadership roles. I knew that they were going to be 100% solid at quarterback, and that's the most important position on the field, as you know, as a former quarterback. I knew that they were going to be better on the offensive line. If you have an offensive line that is going to be able to protect the quarterback that can throw like Luke Altmaier, I'm not worried about Starkville skill position players in the same way I'm not worried about the Greenway's position players, skill position players. I knew they were going to be pretty good on defense. They always are, but I just had questions surrounding West Point. Their running backs and their quarterbacks they're putting in the game had barely played last year. And, at a certain point, you just start to say, well, West Point is West Point no matter what they got on the field. But I did think that they were going to take a while to get going, and they did take a while. And if Luke Altmaier doesn't go down with cramps in the third quarter, that might have been a runaway because the first half was all Starkville. They gave up a touchdown on the second play of the game, and then they came back and scored on a design quarterback run by Luke Altmaier on the first play of their possession, and they led 26-7 at the half, and it could have been 35-7 at the half. They had a touchdown that the receiver couldn't haul it in the end zone. He had it in his hands, dropped it, and they ended up turning over on downs. It could have been a 4-touchdown game in the first half. But give credit to West Point. I just think that team, if they have an inkling that they're still in the ball game, you're just going to have to put them down. I mean, you got to keep the pedal on the gas, and you got to rev it up until the game's over with because they're not going to stop. Yeah. That's what happened. They got back in the ball game. But I did think that Starkville was probably 2 touchdowns better just because of what they were returning and what they had coming into the season.
Okay. Robbie Falk on your radio right now. Are they like a favorite? You see that outcome, you look at their quarterback play, Florida State commit, Luke Altmaier. I mean, if you were to rank teams around the state, you put Starkville on top of everybody right now?
I think so, just because there's a lot of uncertainty at some of those other North teams, especially. I don't think, Brandon lost Will Rogers. Madison Central lost some key players and their quarterback. Sapanola lost Nari Dean, their star running back. So I think there's a lot of those places that I felt like were going to be contending for North State, and I feel like will contend. Those are still some question marks, but Luke Altmaier to me is the catalyst for Starkville High School. If they have him, I think they're going to be really difficult to beat. I mean, I can't overstate it enough how impressive he was in that first half. I know you watched some of his highlights from the first half.
Yeah.
He can make just about every throw that there is to make. And now he can show off a little bit of that running ability. So he does have a threat to run, and that's going to be even more dangerous for teams. So as long as they got that kid slinging it around, it's going to be very difficult to stop them offensively.
Luke Altmaier. So, you ask around 6'2", 6'3", 200 pounds, something like that. Committed to Florida State. And, his recruitment, Robbie, is curious. Is that the right word right now? Curious in terms of like his offer list versus who hasn't offered. And do you think it's just one of those things where people, if he leads them to a state championship this year, plays in the rest of these ball games the way he did Friday night, he can pick and choose. I know he's already committed, but he's going to have more offers.
Yeah, I think that the interest in him is going to really pick up. He's had interest and offers from LSU and Florida and teams like that for quite some time. And he probably could have committed to LSU early on. I think they've got their quarterback, but now a lot of those spots are filling up. But I know Alabama's still interested in him. They've had conversations with him. Nick Saban's talked to him. They gave him an offer in the spring. Florida State is where he feels comfortable. He wanted to be the guy in the class. They got him on board in the spring, and he had a great relationship with Dillingham and Mike Norvell over at Florida State when they were at Memphis. So that was just a natural relationship and a natural fit for him. The only thing I'm curious about was why Mississippi State wasn't interested in him when Mike Leach came in. But I'm sure you've done enough research on Mike Leach. You know that he's a curious guy, especially with his quarterbacks. He wants a particular guy. Mm-hmm. He went and got 2 Texas kids, and I don't think Mississippi State could have gone wrong with either Sawyer Robertson or Luke Altmaier. But they just, for whatever reason, were not interested in Luke. And I think he's a perfect fit for the air raid. He's already running a lot of those concepts at Starkville High School. But I think State's in good position in what they have. Florida State's got a heck of a quarterback if he does indeed end up at Florida State. But I have a feeling that his recruitment's going to pick up a little bit as this season goes on.
Robbie Falk on your radio right now. He was at that ball game on Friday night for the Starkville Daily News, Mississippi State local sports right there. Y'all need to follow Robbie on Twitter at RobbieFalk247. Give him a follow right there. So Starkville hits the road and goes to Louisville. Louisville won a state championship a couple years ago. I only say that just because I was there for the game. I'm not sure how it wound up for them last year, but then a 13-zip shutout of Columbus in week 1. What do you make of that at Louisville this week?
Louisville's kind of like West Point. They're replacing a lot of key players from last year, especially at the skill position spot. They had a lot of wide receiver talent, and running backs go out the door, and they're breaking in a new quarterback as well. It's going to be interesting. I feel like Starkville has a major edge in talent, depth, but Tyrone Shorter's over there coaching for Louisville. He knows Chris Jones. He coached Chris Jones in high school. Both those guys are Knoxville County guys.
Yeah.
They're going to be ready for each other. They're going to know what the other one's going to run, and it's probably going to come down to Jimmy and Joe's, and Starkville's got those. I like Starkville in that ball game, but Louisville's a team to watch out for, and for Greenwood, I think, was the one that knocked them out last year, and they're not playing this year.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to have been their nemesis in the playoffs in the past. I like Louisville. I like West Point. I like Starkville in all those classifications, which is kind of crazy to think about being so close to each other. All 3 of those teams could be state champs this year.
Yeah, all in one little area right there for sure. So speaking of West Point, real quick with a couple of minutes left, Robbie, West Point goes to Tupelo this week. Tupelo played well at what was I guess by some, a ranked Neshoba Central team. And it was a close game, 25-17. Neshoba Central gave them some opportunities, a couple late turnovers, but Tupelo also turned it over. It'll be a home game for Tupelo. West Point going up there, both teams coming off a loss. What do you think?
I'm going to give the West Point the edge based on just the continuity they have on staff and what their players know already. I feel like they're probably going to have a little bit of an edge on just the system and everything, because I think Ty Harden is a great coach, but I think just the lack of the spring and not having a ton of time with his kids this summer, I think it's going to take a while to get Tupelo going. But I like what I'm hearing about Tupelo and their future classes. I think they have some really good underclassmen coming up. That's going to be a team to watch in the future. But I like the West Point Green Wave this week.
Good deal. All right, Robbie, it's good to talk high school football with you, man. I went out to Amory on Friday night and kind of watched that atmosphere, and they had a decent crowd. I'll tell you this, at Starkville, Friday night. There was a bunch of people at that ball game. There wasn't a whole lot of distancing going on. I mean, it was loaded, frankly.
It was packed out. I think people were just as excited about having football back in this community as you and I are.
Mm-hmm.
It's exciting to finally have it back. I'm just glad to be back out there at the field.
Yeah, same with me. All right, man. Hey, good to talk to you. I really appreciate your time, okay? I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, man. Have a good one, man.
You too. Thank you. That's Robbie Falk. Y'all follow him on Twitter if you don't already. Covering sports in the state of Mississippi for a long time. He's Robbie Falk 247. He's a part of 24/7 Sports, Gene's Page, and the Starkville Daily News. It was covering the game for the Starkville Daily back on Friday night. Altmaier, something else. I ran across some of his highlights from the game. Luke Altmaier, the quarterback Starkville, posted a few of his highlights from the game, the first half of that game against West Point. I retweeted that a while ago if y'all want to go see it, because I noticed two things. One, the stands at Yellow Jacket Field were packed, okay? They had a big crowd. And number two, I noticed there was almost 60,000 views of that video of his highlights at that time. And if you don't think Florida State fans are excited, well, they got a stadium full worth of fans who've watched his video already of just the first half highlights of this season opener. You can go check some of that out for yourself. All right, I'm coming to your text. Bama Fan and Buzzard and James and True Maroon and White Denzel and Ghost Pepper and Gator Nation and all y'all coming to your texts next. Stick around.
Farm Bureau Insurance stands ready to provide financial relief to our communities in this time of crisis. This includes a one-time credit to all personal auto policyholders, a donation of $500,000 to the Mississippi Food Network, and additional payment options for those hit the hardest, all while continuing to service customer claims as well. But this is the time to go above and beyond. These are a few ways we're keeping the Farm Bureau promise. To learn more, talk to your agent or visit us online. Go with the home team.
Every farmer understands their farm can't thrive without some good partners like sun, soil, and rain. And farmers in North Mississippi also rely on another important partner, Mississippi Land Bank, because land and farm financing are Mississippi Land Bank's primary focus. We've grown alongside these farmers' crops for more than 100 years. We understand what a farmer needs, and we know the lay of the land in North Mississippi, and that's where I stand.
Bull. There's a lot of that out there in the wireless world. But C Spire believes that you deserve a plan that is what it actually says it is. Here's the real deal. The best plan for 1 or 2 lines. Unlimited talk and text with 10 gigabytes of high-speed data. And here's the real deal. $45 per line with auto pay and paperless billing. Even without auto pay, it's just $50. Now, how's that for the fine print? No bull. That's the real deal. Switch to C Spire today at cspire.com/real deal. C Spire, customer inspired. Man, that sounds like summertime in Mississippi, doesn't it? You know what else just screams summertime in Mississippi? Country Pleasing Sausage from Country Meat Packers in Florence. Check me out. Jalapeno and cheddar. Just got it at Kroger in Tupelo where I live. On grocery store shelves throughout the Southeast. Cut it up, throw it in the frying pan. Put it on a bun. Get some andouille, make some gumbo. It is the best sausage you've ever put in your mouth. Country Pleasing Sausage, countrypleasing.com. It is made up of hand-picked hams, bacon, and pork loin. That's why it tastes so good. I even got this cool hat from them. Check them out. Go by the butcher shop there in Florence or order it online or look for it in grocery stores. Walk up in there and say, Country Pleasing, please.
A lot of people in the equipment world, things kind of go in trends, I guess, if you want to say it. So kind of the first big thing for 2020 that we look at when we start evaluating our business is going to be our turf equipment. That's kind of the first big push, because once everything, the water dries up and the grass starts growing, this is what everybody's looking to get. We carry the new Wright stand-up mower. Doesn't look like much, and it's dirty as all get out. But this thing is, and it costs just as much as zero turn. Not a cheap unit at all. I mean, if you go out there and look at that zero turn, this thing right here, I mean, it's got all your components from your big pumps to your commercial engine to your large steel deck. And these guys were the first ones to make the standard mower.
Hey, are you buying land or selling it? You need to let Matt Anderson with National Land Realty help you out. Matt Anderson Properties. Here's what Matt can do.
105.9 The Zone and streaming. Check it out online now at thezone1059.com.
All right. Coming in hot. Rolling right along. JB's been a busy man taking phone calls.
I'm watching the highlights from this Starkville West Point game right now.
Are you the ones on Twitter?
No, this is on YouTube.
Okay. Oh, yeah. So is it the whole game?
No, it's just like a 15-minute highlight.
15 minutes.
Yeah, but you're right, man. There's a bunch of booties in that stand.
Hey, there's a bunch of folks there. I don't know what that field at Starkville High School seats, but, I mean, from the camera angles that I saw, I mean, really, there was not a whole lot of difference from a normal crowd that you see there on a normal year. Okay.
I'd say it's about 2/3 full.
Yeah, right.
But there are certain packets of people where you can't see any aluminum. It's just people.
It's family. You can sit together as a family.
Yeah.
Does that include second cousins or just first cousins?
I think it includes all the way, to like distantly removed fourth and fifth cousins.
Really? Yeah. All the way to Kevin Bacon?
All the way to Kevin Bacon.
We ought to do a
6 degrees.
Yeah, well, we ought to just start a podcast where we, bring somebody in who's got an interesting family tree and kind of go through it with them. And the name of it could be All the Way to Kevin Bacon.
All the way to Kevin Bacon.
Yeah, that's a bad idea. Let's move on.
Can you be a bad person if your last name is Bacon?
No. No, not at all. All right, Country Pleasing text line. A little bit ago, Fleet Feet Pete, he texted the show, and he said, Jay Hobson to JSU. Now, I don't think I didn't mention it. I told Annabeth that. I said, Jackson State's looking for a coach right now. And the thing is, Jay had some success at Alcorn. Took him over, Let's see. He was there for 4 seasons at Alcorn State. They went 32-17 and 25-11 in the SWAC in 4 years at Alcorn State. His first year at Alcorn State, they were 4-7. Then he went 9-3, 10-3, and 9-4. His last 2 years, 10-3 and 9-4, finished first in the East Division of the SWAC, and went to a bowl game his final year there, 2015. Then he went to Southern Miss right after that. So I don't know. I mean, I have no idea if that's on anybody's radar realistically. But, would Jay win at Jackson State the way he did at Alcorn? I don't know. I bet it would excite some Alcorn fans. I mean, Jackson State fans, because he did a good job.
Excite some Alcorn fans, too.
It might do it, actually. It might do it. Bama fan on the Country Pleasing text line says, physical game Friday, JA versus MRA. JA had a lead 10-6 through 3 quarters. Man, so MRA had to turn it on late, but they did. Sometimes it's a sign of a good team. Got to know how to play from behind and from ahead, for sure. Let's see. Buzzard92 on the Country Pleasing text line said, played Live Oaks this morning, shot 98-ish. Greens were in great condition. Hey, 98-ish? That's better than 100.
That's all right, man. He can shoot as much as he wants with that Doors hat and the Motorhead shirt.
I mean, look at
You
that.
cannot go wrong.
I mean, that was before. I didn't even know they had logos like that when the Doors were popular back in. What? Give me a year, JB, for the Doors.
68,
68. Jim Morrison.
Jim Morrison.
Come on, baby, light my fire.
Yeah.
James on the country pleasing text line. He liked the line. I said, dummies don't move. People do. He said, LOL. Love that, Matt. Yeah, I mean, Navy admittedly did not tackle each other in preseason practice and did not block other human beings, and they only did it against dummies. And pun here, it's a dumb move. You can't go play a game having done that. Well, I guess you can, but that's a result. You know you're going to get that result before you do it. You got no chance. None. Now, I didn't get this question in for Robbie. Ghost Pepper on the Country Pleasing text line said, ask Robbie who would win a karate match between BK Maroon and Nitro Maestro. He will understand. Well, maybe he would. Maybe you do. Frankly, Ghost Pepper, none of the rest of us do. Nor do we care. Inside jokes don't work on the radio. Okay?
I want to meet Nitro Maestro. I
want to hear you say that 5 times fast.
Nitro Maestro.
Yeah, you didn't make it 2.5 times.
I know it.
I won't even try it. At least you have the guts to try it. White Denzel says, if you've never heard Robbie Falk play Wonderwall on the guitar on the front porch of a cabin at the Neshoba County Fair, you're missing out. How about that? Yeah, he can play Gator Nation. It was incredibly specific, though, wasn't it, JB? Like, Denzel, all he had to say was, if you never heard him play the guitar, you're missing out. No,
you got to play Wonderwall at the Neshoba County Fair on the front porch of the cabin.
Right. That whole thing, I'm not knocking the Neshoba County Fair at all. Not knocking it one bit. What I'm saying is, given that we live in modern times, I'm not sure what the whole draw is. Okay? Been there. Covered in dust. Covered in it. Every car, everything, me, every person covered in a film of red clay dust that just hangs at that place. Okay? Hot as all get out, right? And they say cabin. Yeah, it's kind of neat. But if you're claustrophobic at all, hand up here. I can't hang out in any of those cabins. Not at 6'5", okay? Can't do it. Can't do
it. You probably can't get up the steps.
No. I mean, I've literally walked through cabins at Neshoba County Fair where I had to, it's like the cabin of an airplane. I'm ducked with my head over like to the side the whole time.
You got to watch out so you don't get your red clay halo.
Yeah. Now, the horse buggy thing, that's pretty neat. That's pretty neat. And there's a bunch of pretty girls there, so if I were a teenager, 19-year-old Matt probably would find a different purpose in the whole thing. But that's the rest of it, man. It's just, let's just go do something else. Gator Nation says, Matt, do you believe Jay Hobson resigned or was really fired behind the scenes? I like Jay Hobson. Yeah, no, I think there was a resignation. I think they expedited something that may have happened after the season, without a miracle type of season thing, and went ahead and said, hey, this train's going down the hill. You might as well start a new deal, and so had I. Their statement said he came to them. I believe that's true. True Maroon says Alabama better hope it's for all cousins for the stands, or else they'll be empty. And then White Denzel says, you have to stay for a few days to get to the Neshoba County Fair. It's the one time you get to see friends that you've made at the fair and a chance to see family you don't normally get to see. Yeah, I'm just kind of joking around, Denzel. It's a neat thing. Yeah. Okay, real quick. I just got a text here from Miko on the Country Pleasing text line. Country Pleasing sausage on grocery store shelves throughout the Southeast. Country Pleasing. This is a tweet from Joe Cook, sports director at WAPT. It says, JSU just confirmed to me that they are not considering Jay Hopson for their head football coach opening. Jay has experience in the SWAC. He was the head coach at Alcorn State from 2012 to 2015, led them to 32 wins. So Joe Cook of WAPT is saying that Jackson State not pursuing Jay Hopson right now for its open head coaching position. Miko, thanks for the link, and we got that information in there for you. Hey, real quick, Chris Brooks and the folks at the Mississippi Gridiron, at Mississippi Gridiron Magazine and MississippiGridiron.com have this week's top 10 rankings in the state of Mississippi in high school football. It is posted on their website. This week's top 10, the Little 10, and the MAIS top 10. Here they are in this order. The overall top 10, according to the Mississippi Gridiron: number 1, Starkville. Number 2, Oak Grove, who put up 52 points on Gulfport this weekend. Number 3, South Panola, who got a 1-point win over Hernando. Number 4, West Point, who lost to number 1, Starkville. Number 5, West Jones, not sure what they did. Number 6, Madison Central, who beat somebody. West Jones beat somebody, I just don't know who they beat. Number 7, Neshoba Central, 1-0 after a 25-17 win over Tupelo, I believe is the score. Number 8, Picayune. Number 9, Warren Central after their shutout win over Vicksburg. And number 10, Oxford. Oxford beat somebody. So the only team in the top 10 at Mississippi Gridiron, the overall top 10 with a loss, is West Point, who lost on the road at the number 1 team, Starkville.
West Jones beat Raleigh 35-6.
Oh.
Madison Central beat Northwest Rankin 31-20. And the other score,
Oxford.
Yeah. They beat Grenada 37-20.
Okay, beat them by 17. Dadgummit. How about this? He actually has, in terms of the Little 10 at Mississippi Gridiron, they have MRA number 1 in that Little 10. Jefferson Davis County number 2, that's the old Bassfield. Number 3 is Taylorsville. Number 4, Columbia. Number 5, Prep. Number 6, Noxubee. Noxubee beat Shannon 39-0. Number 7, McGee. They beat Collins 34-0. Gracious. Number 8, West Marion. They beat East Marion 40-6. How are things in Marion County this week? After West Marion won 40-6. Scott Central, they're number 9 in the Little 10, beat Pelahatchie 35-0. And number 10 is Choctaw County after a win over Calhoun City 14-12 last week. I love it. Results. Stick around.
Farm Bureau Insurance stands ready to provide financial relief to our communities in this time of crisis. This includes a one-time credit to all personal auto policyholders, a donation of $500,000 to the Mississippi Food Network, and additional payment options for those hit the hardest, all while continuing to service customer claims as well. But this is the time to go above and beyond. These are a few ways we're keeping the Farm Bureau promise. To learn more, talk to your agent or visit us online. Go with the home team.
Every farmer understands their farm can't thrive without some good partners like sun, soil, and rain. And farmers in North Mississippi also rely on another important partner, Mississippi Land Bank, because land and farm financing are Mississippi Land Bank's primary focus. We've grown alongside these farmers' crops for more than 100 years. We understand what a farmer needs, and we know the lay of the land in North Mississippi, and that's where I stand.
Bull. There's a lot of that out there in the wireless world. But C Spire believes that you deserve a plan that is what it actually says it is. Here's the real deal. The best plan for 1 or 2 lines. Unlimited talk and text with 10 gigabytes of high-speed data. And here's the real deal. $45 per line with auto pay and paperless billing. Even without auto pay, it's just $50. Now, how's that for the fine print? No bull. That's the real deal. Switch to C Spire today at cspire.com/real deal. C Spire, customer inspired. Man, that sounds like summertime in Mississippi, doesn't it? You know what else just screams summertime in Mississippi? Country pleasing sausage from Country Meat Packers in Florence. Check me out. Jalapeno and cheddar. Just got it at Kroger in Tupelo where I live. On grocery store shelves throughout the Southeast. Cut it up, throw it in the frying pan. Put it on a bun. Get some andouille, make some gumbo. It is the best sausage you've ever put in your mouth. Country Pleasing Sausage, countrypleasing.com. It is made up of hand-picked hams, bacon, and pork loin. That's why it tastes so good. I even got this cool hat from it. Check them out. Go by the butcher shop there in Florence, or order it online, or look for it in grocery stores. Walk up in there and say, Country Pleasing, please.
A lot of people in the equipment world, things kind of go in trends, I guess, if you want to say it. So kind of the first big thing for 2020 that we look at when we start evaluating our business is going to be our turf equipment. That's kind of the first big push, because once everything, the water dries up and the grass starts growing, this is what everybody's looking to get. We carry the new Wright stand-up mower. Doesn't look like much, and it's dirty as all get out. But this thing is, and it costs just as much as zero turn. Not a cheap unit at all. I mean, if you go out there and look at that zero turn, this thing right here, I mean, it's got all your components from your big pumps to your commercial engine to your large steel deck. And these guys were the first ones to make the standard mower.
For you, Mississippi.
Online transmission is ready, sir.
Live online at thezone1059.com and
keep your radio turned on
to ESPN 105.9, The Zone.
All right, back with you. Rolling along here on this Tuesday. First day back this week, but short week because of the holiday. Hope everyone enjoyed your Labor Day, your day off. And looking ahead to football, you got NFL football kicking off this week. Thursday night game, Chiefs and Texans, and then a full complement of games on Sunday around the NFL. We'll preview some of those coming up in hour 3 of the show, which is right around the corner. Real quick, okay, and we're going to preview the college games, or at least take a look at what's on the docket, because this weekend you do have the ACC and the Big 12 going to kick it up and get going. Hallelujah. Even more games to watch this weekend. Now, see, haven't we all made it just fine without NFL preseason games? We don't need those, do we? In reality, we don't need any of it, but glad to have any of it. So, high school games that stand out to you this weekend. Anybody got any that really stand out to you? Warren Central over in Vicksburg going to host Brandon this weekend. So, Brandon coming off that loss to Clinton. Warren Central feeling good about themselves. 17-zip shutout win over Vicksburg. Got to be careful about that one.
Clinton's got to go to Northwest Rankin, too.
Really? And Northwest Rankin got whipped by Madison Central.
Yeah.
Round robin. We're just having
very
a little
similar, similar games, if you will, because of the districts and the way they're shaping up.
So Northwest Rankin coming off a loss. Clinton feeling really good about themselves, got to go on the road. The whole concept of the bit dog, the injured dog. You got to be careful about that injured dog. It's got, skin up on one side. He's bleeding a little bit. You reach a hand in there and he just, what does he do?
Yeah, especially when he's at home.
Especially when he's at home. So you better get ready. These teams that got themselves a little embarrassed in week 1 because they all have coaches who have nice big contracts and nice houses with mortgages, huh? Wives who don't want to move anytime soon. And a little pressure, just a little bit of pressure.
South Panola had a little harder time than they imagined with their first game. They won.
They sure did.
Snuck in there, but then they got to go to Meridian this year.
This week?
Well, yeah, not this year. But I understand Meridian's not quite what they've been in past years.
Okay. I'm trying to see here real quick. Corinth, really good team. What's Corinth? 4A? They go to Olive Branch. That's an underrated game, I think, up in North Mississippi. Corinth at Olive Branch, 2 1-0s right there. Let's see, Ocean Springs. They had the win. They're going to host George County. Ocean Springs coming off the win over Moss Point this weekend. Hattiesburg and Oak Grove. There we go. Here we go. Hattiesburg won the Little Brown Jug, beat Laurel. Oak Grove put up 52 on somebody, Gulfport. Embarrassed them. And now we got 2 1-0s facing off at Oak Grove this weekend. This Friday night. That'll be fun. Gulfport coming off that loss. They're going to Picayune this weekend too.
The Maroon Tide.
The Maroon Tide, that's right. Man, Tupelo Christian Prep, TCPS, they got their hands full. They're hosting Nanawaya. Nanawaya won last Thursday night. A really good program. So, small school football, they'll have their hands full up in this neck of the woods. Yeah, South Panola at Meridian. Starkville goes to Louisville. Taylorsville at Seminary. Looks like that'll be the season opener for both. Come on with it.
It'd be a good game. Quarterback from Taylorsville, I believe just a 10th grader.
Yeah.
And it's already committed to Tulane.
Big game. Hey,
unless Will Hall decides to leave Tulane and come to Southern Miss, then I bet that kid will go to Southern Miss.
That may change things. I wonder if that'll factor in. Here's a huge rivalry game going on Friday night. West Jones at Wayne County. That's a big rivalry game right there. Several years ago, I know I've brought this up before, JB, but several years ago when they had the we did the C Spire Bright Lights series of games for 2-3 years.
Yeah, I remember that. And
pretty much I did the color analysis for all of those games on television. I think it was 3 years, but pretty much worked with the same broadcasters every time. For a while, it was a guy named Dave Anderson, I think was his name, from Kansas.
Mm-hmm.
And then for a while it was Richard Cross from here in Mississippi. We did some of those games. But there was one guy, I don't know what it was with schedules or what, but there was one guy that had done some ESPN work, and they flew him in to do the Wayne County West Jones game with me. And he came in there on 2 wheels. It was like they called him, and he barely had enough time to grab a backpack before he went and got on a plane somewhere.
Wow.
And I don't remember his name. I wish I could, but I don't. But I just remember he came into the booth. He had on like shorts and tennis shoes, and he had to throw on a shirt, and somebody met him there with a tie that he could put on, and he borrowed a coat so that he could, from the waist up, he could have a coat and tie on for the broadcast. And he was great at it. But, man, he came in there on 2 wheels. All right, and real quick, college football to watch this week. You got a bunch of it, okay? So the ACC is going to get going this week. We already previewed Notre Dame and Duke. So you got a bunch of it going on. You also have the Big 12 going to kick off this week.
You mentioned the NFL, Matt. You got the Buccaneers and the Saints.
Oh, yeah, that's right. We're going to do it. We're previewing the NFL games coming up to start hour 3.
Awesome.
All right, so college football. Thursday night, UAB at Miami. That's a Thursday night game, 7 o'clock Central. If you want to watch it on the ACC network, you'll have to find that. All right, then the Saturday games. Syracuse at North Carolina is an ACC network game. That's at 11 a.m. Saturday morning. 11 a.m. on ESPN will be Louisiana, the Raging Cajuns, at Iowa State in Ames, Iowa. Iowa State a little better than a 10-point favorite there. 11 a.m. on ESPN2, Charlotte at Appalachian State. Appalachian State, one of the better teams in the country. They are. 11 a.m. Saturday on FS1, you get West Virginia hosting Eastern Kentucky. Louisiana Tech at Baylor. Southern Miss fans get a preview of La Tech. They'll play on Fox at 11 a.m. on Saturday.
I think West Virginia should be penciled in for that win.
You think so?
Yeah, because I watched Marshall annihilate Eastern Kentucky.
I mean, it was like BYU versus Navy. It was that kind of game. All right, middle of the day, 12:30, CBS Sports Network. Louisiana Monroe goes to Army. Now, how is it that Army can have all their students, cadets, whatever you want to call them, in the stands, but Navy couldn't have anybody? That was stupid.
It reminds me of a tweet I saw yesterday.
What did that tweet say?
The guy said something about being nonsensical, people not allowed in stadium, open-air stadiums.
It's a big open-air stadium at Annapolis, Maryland last night, a home game for Navy. They wouldn't have not a single person in there. It makes no sense to do that.
You said nonsensical.
It's nonsensical. I love it. All right, so the Duke Notre Dame game, it's a big one. It's obviously on NBC because it's a Notre Dame home game. That's at 1:30 on Saturday, Central Time, on NBC. 2:30 Central on ABC is Georgia Tech at Florida State. See Florida State for the first time under Norvell, fresh over from Memphis. ESPN 2 at 2:30 on Saturday is UTSA Texas State. Texas State gave SMU all they could handle last weekend. A couple of others. Arkansas State goes to Kansas State, 2:30 on Saturday. It's televised FS1. You get into prime time, 6 o'clock game Central Time. 6:30 on ABC Saturday night is Clemson at Wake Forest. So pencil that one in, okay? You can't.
That'll be a great game.
You can't. Yeah, you can't watch Missouri State at Oklahoma. It's pay-per-view. Nobody's going to pay for that around here. Just not doing it.
Look at that old ABC logo there, Matt.
I don't see it.
Right there under the ESPN.
Well, I'm not. I just can't see it.
I got it. It's. I'm looking at the ESPN website, college football. It's got the old ABC, the big rounded.
Oh yeah, the rounded one. Yeah, that is a throwback, isn't it?
And you mentioned UTSA and Texas State.
Yeah.
UTSA's defensive coordinator is one of those aforementioned early candidates that don't mean anything for the Southern Miss job.
Oh, is it? What's the name?
Derek Nix.
Oh yeah, yeah. I saw his name pop up there. Yeah. Okay, here you go. Southern Miss fans, cover your ears. South Alabama will host Tulane on ESPN2 Saturday night at 6:30. I'm going to watch that. Tulane, good team. They're coming to Hattiesburg later this year. If you want to watch Texas play UTEP, you can 7 o'clock Saturday night on the Longhorn Network. If you want, go right on ahead. I'll pass. ACC Network at 7 is Louisville hosting Western Kentucky. That could be a good ball game. Could. We'll see. Texas Tech hosts Houston Baptist. Okay, late game if you want to watch Les Miles coach. 9 p.m. Central Time on FS1 Saturday night. Kansas hosting Coastal Carolina. So there you go. That's the roundup of the games. Now, I only skipped a couple. Like there's an ESPN online ESPN Plus game, the Citadel at South Florida. You have Austin Peay going to Pittsburgh. That one's in there Saturday afternoon. But I kind of gave you all the high points. So as you can see, a bunch of Big 12 teams playing. Clemson's going to play. Notre Dame's going to play. Florida State, Georgia Tech are going to play each other. You're going to have plenty of fun football to watch this weekend. And it'll actually start Thursday night. I'll tune in. I get the ACC Network. I'm a cord cutter, and I get it. Miami is a big 2-touchdown favorite over UAB, but haven't played. UAB has a game under their belt. We'll see. It is in Miami. All right. That wraps up Hour 2. Hour 3 coming up. We'll start off, take a look at opening weekend of the NFL starting on Thursday night. Go Chiefs! Stick around for that.
Farm Bureau Insurance stands ready to provide financial relief to our communities in this time of crisis. This includes a one-time credit to all personal auto policyholders, a donation of $500,000 to the Mississippi Food Network, and additional payment options for those hit the hardest, all while continuing to service customer claims as well. But this is the time to go above and beyond. These are a few ways we're keeping the Farm Bureau promise. To learn more, talk to your agent or visit us online. Go with the home team.
Every farmer understands their farm can't thrive without some good partners like sun, soil, and rain. And farmers in North Mississippi also rely on another important partner, Mississippi Land Bank, because land and farm financing are Mississippi Land Bank's primary focus. We've grown alongside these farmers' crops for more than 100 years. We understand what a farmer needs, and we know the lay of the land in North Mississippi, and that's where I stand.
bull. There's a lot of that out there in the wireless world. But C Spire believes that you deserve a plan that is what it actually says it is. Here's the real deal. The best plan for 1 or 2 lines. Unlimited talk and text with 10 gigabytes of high-speed data. And here's the real deal. $45 per line with auto pay and paperless billing. Even without auto pay, it's just $50. Now, how's that for the fine print? No bull. That's the real deal. Switch to C Spire today at cspire.com/real deal. C Spire, customer inspired. Man, that sounds like summertime in Mississippi, doesn't it? You know what else just screams summertime in Mississippi? Country Pleasing sausage from Country Meat Packers in Florence. Check me out. Jalapeno and cheddar. Just got it at Kroger in Tupelo where I live. On grocery store shelves throughout the Southeast. Cut it up, throw it in the frying pan. Put it on a bun. Get some andouille, make some gumbo. It is the best sausage you've ever put in your mouth. Country Pleasing sausage, countrypleasing.com. It is made up of hand-picked hams, bacon, and pork loin. That's why it tastes so good. I even got this cool hat from them. Check them out. Go by the butcher shop there in Florence, or order it online, or look for it in grocery stores. Walk up in there and say, Country Pleasing, please.
A lot of people in the equipment world, you know, things kind of go in trends, I guess, if you want to say it. So kind of the first big thing for 2020 that we look at when we start evaluating our business is going to be our turf equipment. That's kind of the first big push, because once everything, the water dries up and the grass starts growing, this is what everybody's looking to get. We carry the new Wyatt stand-up mower. Doesn't look like much and it's dirty as all get out. But this thing is, and it costs just as much as zero turn. Not a cheap unit at all. I mean, if you go out there and look at that zero turn, this thing right here, I mean, it's got all your components from your big pumps to your commercial engine to your large steel deck. And these guys were the first ones to make the standard mower.
Hey, are you buying land or selling it? You need to let Matt Anderson with National Land Realty help you out. Matt Anderson Properties. Here's what Matt can do. If you're buying land, you can view the property without ever setting foot on it. They've got the 360-degree interactive drone touring. It's really cool. You got to check it out. And if you're selling property, Matt's going to get you consistent reports, comprehensive reports of who's looking, how many people looked at your listing. You need to let him help you. Matt Anderson Properties with National Land Realty. Call him, 601-408-5155. Hey, if you listen to the show, you know that the new third hour of the Matt Wyatt Show is brought to you by Overstreet Properties in Starkville. Here's what you need to know. If you're looking for a weekend home or condo, full-time residence, investment property, maybe just an apartment to lease, you got a student going to school at State, call Kane Overstreet at Overstreet Properties. In Starkville, it's 323-8618, or look them up online, overstreetproperties.com.
Sports from around the world and right here at home. Streaming to you at the Zone 1059.com and on your radio on ESPN 105.9. The Zone.
Let's go! Hour 3 of the show presented by Overstreet Properties in Starkville. Stark Vegas, whichever you prefer. Starkville, or Stark Vegas. I don't care how you say it. You know where I'm talking about. And if you're headed up there for any reason at all, maybe you're moving up there, maybe you need that permanent residence, or it could be investment property. A lot of people looking at that in the Starkville area. A lot of these college towns, obviously, over the last years, big-time investment property hotspots. Or you could just be going in, for ball games this year. A few home games or basketball, baseball season. You need a condo for when you come into town. Maybe you have a student going to school there, looking for an apartment to lease. Any of that, go to Overstreet Properties in Starkville. It's overstreetproperties.com and tell Kane Overstreet that I sent you. Overstreet Properties, proud presenting sponsor of Hour 3 of the show in the Farm Bureau studio. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Matt. JB is here. Y'all can be a part of the show. I invite you to do that. So hit me up on the text line. It's 885-ESPN. That's a 601 number. 601-885-ESPN. You text me. I'll see it. We'll get it on the air. Call me also on the Davini Equipment phone line. Davini Equipment in Madison and in Jackson. Your Kubota dealer. The oldest Kubota dealer in the U.S. Call me at 995-1059. It's a 601 number, 995-1059. Love to hear your voice today. Again, that text number, 885-3776. So, yep, NFL going to kick it off this weekend. Hallelujah. Okay, here's what I want to start you off with. According to the SEC, who put out a list today, there are more than 350 players from the SEC that are on NFL rosters to begin the season. 53-man NFL rosters. Include over 350 former SEC players. We can do the math. I'm not doing it. But I will tell you this. There are 22 former Mississippi State Bulldogs on NFL rosters. There are, according to my count, 14 former Ole Miss Rebels on NFL rosters. You want to know who they are? Huh? A little NFL Films feel going. Y'all like that? That's great. Okay.
With a frozen tundra.
That's it. Oh, man, those old NFL films. It doesn't get any better than that. It's like that picture. I guarantee you that picture you sent me from Super 70 Sports, JB, on Twitter, come from like an old NFL Films deal. Some old dude wearing a helmet for the Steelers. Look at that. I mean, it's like a kiddie helmet. It barely fits over his temples. I mean, that's why even that face mask is more of a health hazard than a protection, I promise you. Y'all go look at my Twitter feed. I'm Radio Wyatt. JB is at Dr. Brojo. You'll see what we're talking about there. Okay.
Coach, my helmet's too tight. No, it's fine. Get in there, kid.
But I can't feel my arms. Yeah, I bet you can't. Good for you. One of those arms is going to be broken in about 20 minutes. Be glad you can't feel it. All right, here it is. Former Mississippi State players in the NFL that have made 53-man rosters. There are 22 of them. Settle in. Grab a soft drink, cup of coffee from High Point Roasters in New Albany or something. It's going to take a while. Jonathan Abram, Las Vegas Raiders. Hopefully he can stay healthy. Got injured as a rookie. You really hope that he can, play a full or somewhat of a full season with them because he's a heck of a ball player. Danico Autry, Indianapolis Colts. Hunter Bradley, deep snapper, Green Bay Packers. Deion Calhoun, offensive lineman, Cincinnati Bengals. Got traded there, sent there, or picked up after the Dolphins released him. Logan Cook, starting punter, Jacksonville Jaguars. Fletcher Cox, we know him, Philadelphia. Cam Dantzler, draft pick of the Vikings, he's there. Willie Gay, Kansas City Chiefs. Can't wait to watch number 50. And the red and gold. Well, it's yellow. The red and yellow on Thursday night. Out there with Chris Jones, another Bulldog. He's on the list as well. Elton Jenkins, offensive lineman, Green Bay Packers. Gabe Jackson, offensive lineman, Raiders. I still can't get used to saying Las Vegas Raiders. I need some more music. JT Gray, New Orleans Saints. Who dat? B-Mac, Bernard McKinney, Houston Texans. Pernell McPhee, Ravens. Tyree Phillips, Ravens. Dak Prescott, Dallas Cowboys. Will Redmond, Green Bay Packers. Jeff Simmons, Tennessee Titans. Did you see, by the way, the Titans also picked up Jadeveon Clowney?
Yes, I did.
Buddy, they're getting better quick. I think. Darius Slay, Philadelphia Eagles. Preston Smith, Green Bay. Montez Sweat, the Washington football team. And KJ Wright, Seattle Seahawks. Just about all of them defense. Just about all of them. All right, Ole Miss. Former Ole Miss Rebels who are on 53-man NFL rosters. A.J. Brown, Tennessee. Evan Ingram, Giants, G-Men. Miles Hartsfield, Carolina, as is Marquise Haynes. Mike Hilton, Pittsburgh. DJ Jones, 49ers. Dawson Knox, Buffalo. Greg Little, he's not little. Hey, you know Chris Berman would say that, right? Greg, he's not little. Carolina.
He's not little.
Bobby Massey, Bears. DK Metcalf, Seattle. CJ Moore, Detroit. AJ Moore, Houston. The Moore brothers from Bassfield. Laramie Tunsil also in Houston. Jordan Wilkins, the Colts. And that'll wrap it up for Ole Miss. Let's see. I don't know if we were to add it up, but a majority of the former Ole Miss players in the NFL are offense. A majority of the former Mississippi State players in the NFL are defense. Of the two schools, only one quarterback in the NFL now, and that's Dak, now that Eli's finished up. And Chad Kelly's not on a roster anywhere. Wait, time out. So are we to so Jordan Ta'amu, what do they do? The Chiefs put him on the practice squad?
Yeah.
So he's not on the
That's what I'm looking at right now.
Okay.
The practice squad.
Okay. Well, he's close then. He's a rolled ankle away. You hate to say it that way, but that's the reality. I mean, that's just the reality of it. I mean,
yeah, if I'm counting right, 10 of the 14 players are offensive.
Isn't that something? And of the 22 former state guys in the NFL, a huge majority of those are defensive guys. You got a couple of offensive linemen. And what is it, one skill player? I mean, literally, think about that. Look at this list for state. Dak Prescott, I believe, is the only offensive skill player in the NFL that is a former Mississippi State Bulldog. The rest of them are linemen, defensive linemen, and defensive backs, one punter, and one snapper.
You got a few on the restricted
and
the practice squad.
Mm-hmm. Few of those.
Yeah, but most of them are definitely.
They're close, but close only counts in horseshoes and
hand grenades.
Horseshoes. I love that saying.
Yeah.
Horseshoes and hand grenades. All right, so who are the games this week? Man, doesn't this feel good? Doesn't this feel great? Huh? Wake up! Thursday night, Arrowhead Stadium. One of the few, if not the only ones, in the opening weekend of the NFL. It's going to welcome fans in there. Arrowhead Stadium, Kansas City, Thursday night. World Champs! Chiefs going to defend as a 9-point favorite at home, hosting the Texans. NBC.
Will that be Dan Patrick and crew, the pregame and postgame?
If it's on NBC. Does Dan Patrick? I thought it was Tirico. I thought Tirico did pregame with Tony Dungy. Maybe it is. Yeah. You're right. No. You're right. It is Dan Patrick.
Yeah, because Tirico does the play-by-play with Collinsworth, doesn't he?
Well, sometimes he does, but it'll be Al Michaels, I imagine.
I guess, yeah.
Since it's NBC in the opener, I bet it'll be Al Michaels and Chris Collinsworth. Yeah, Dan Patrick, Tony Dungy, and I never can remember the other guy.
No, it's the guy that was the...
he was a safety for the Patriots.
Nuclear safety, Rodney Harrison.
That's him. Didn't like him as a player, but he's a good analyst.
I didn't either. I think he was better in San Diego than he was in New England. He was bad in both places.
He was good he ran his mouth a lot in New England.
Yes.
But, you're winning all the time, I guess. Back it up, go ahead. Okay, so then on to Sunday. Oh,
somebody's got to run their mouth because Belichick's not going to talk.
I know it. He's making up for Belichick. All right, so Sunday games in no particular order. The Saints host the Buccaneers in the Dome. Saints a 3.5-point favorite at home, according to somebody. 3:25 Central Time kick on Fox.
Tickets as low as $265.
Well, but they're not putting... yeah, I bet they are. Mm-hmm. I bet they are. And that ticket and a cup of coffee will get you right up to the door of the stadium.
That's right.
And that's about it. Sunday night, Cowboys at Rams on NBC. It'll be double duty. It'll be flying across the country. I bet that's what they'll do. Al and Chris will do the Thursday night opener, jump in the airplane. Or will they? Will they do 2 games on one weekend?
Yeah, they'll do it.
I guess they will, won't they?
Tickets as low as $277 for that game, Matt.
Yeah. Hey, and that's with fans allowed.
Yeah.
I mean,
in the wildfires and ashen places of Los Angeles.
Hey, they're opening a new stadium, SoFi Stadium. The Rams are going to get our first.
Have you seen some renderings of that?
Yes.
That place is unbelievable.
It is. It looks like a spaceship landed out there. Okay, here are the other games in the NFL this weekend. I used to have the NFL on Fox. I don't know if I still have that. I don't think I have it. Here's the NFL on NBC. Oh, that's great. That's great. Oh, I got it right here. NFL on Fox. Okay, here we go. On Sunday afternoon, Seahawks at Falcons noon game. Noon on CBS, Jets at Bills. The Lions will open up hosting the Bears. Vikings going to host the Packers. These are all noon games. Patriots hosting the Dolphins. By the way, Tua is not going to start at quarterback for the Dolphins this weekend. It'll be Fitzpatrick. They'll have some little Fitz magic going on. The Washington football team hosts the Eagles at noon. And the Raiders go on the road to Carolina. Matt Rule's first game as a head coach of the Panthers. Also, Joe Brady's first game as offensive coordinator of the Panthers. Teddy Bridgewater's first game as a quarterback of the Panthers. You get the gist. Also, noon, Jaguars hosting Colts. Very underrated game. Colts are going to be good this year. And Phillip Rivers' first ball game out of the chute as a QB for Indy. And then another noon game, Browns at Ravens. That's a CBSer. The 2 afternoon games are 3 o'clock. Chargers at Bengals. We get to see Joey Ball game, Joe Burrow.
Chargers.
He's an underdog. Joe Burrow's an underdog at home to the Chargers coming in there, who are starting Tyrod Taylor. And then the other 3 o'clock games, a Fox game, 49ers hosting the Cardinals. A lot of people feel like Arizona could be a team, make a little bit of a run this year, kind of.
You can get those tickets for $62, man.
Are you telling the truth?
That's what it says.
60. So are they putting people in there?
I guess. I guess they're going to allow some of them in there.
Yeah, I can't keep up. We had that list about a week ago. I need to look it up
One
again.
day they are, one day they're not.
Exactly. And again, if you're an outdoor stadium, tell me why you're not putting somebody in there.
Right. And I got a question for you, Mr. Wyatt.
Hold on, I got 2 more games real quick. Monday night, and we'll have time to talk about this next week, but the Monday night games, you have a doubleheader since it's the opening weekend. They'll both be on ESPN. It's Steelers at Giants and Titans at Broncos, and I'll be there for both of them. I'm looking forward to that. All right, what's up?
Well, why, and I'm just asking, I don't expect you to have the right answer, or is there a right answer? I don't know. But why are some of these teams playing divisional matchups and others are playing cross conference matchups and others are just playing, general? Mm-hmm. I just don't think it's right that you start off playing, you got the Bears at Detroit.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got the Jets at the Bills.
Yeah.
And then you got Seattle, ho-hum, against the Falcons. Not a divisional game.
Yeah.
You got the Saints and the Bucks divisional game.
Right.
Well, so I just don't know why it seems to me like they should start the season off everybody playing somebody outside of your division.
Yeah.
Especially the very first week. Does that make sense?
No, it does make sense. You're saying everybody should get a game under their belts with
before you play a division game,
before you jump into it. Yeah. And I
especially
understand
since
that.
you're not having preseason games.
Well, right. Okay, so this being a different year, I could see the argument this year because you're going, okay, the divisional games kind of have a double meaning, frankly.
Right.
Versus what you normally have. I can see that. But I at the same time, I hate to give you this answer, but it's kind of like it's one of those things of it just is.
It's pro football. Deal with it.
It's just what they've always done.
Right.
I mean, you know what I'm saying? I mean, it's just what they've always done. Now,
was it like last year when the Eagles and the Cowboys played 2 times in the last 4 weeks of the season?
Yeah.
That just seems weird to me.
That is a little weird when you do that, when they kind of back end it like that. I don't know. I don't mind it because to me, if it was all non-divisional, well, shoot, JB, I don't know, man. If it was all non-divisional, you'd still have a lot of interesting games. You would.
Oh, yeah. I'm not saying it takes away, but it just seems, hey, man, first game, we got divisional. We can go 0-1 in the league and 0-1 in our division.
Right. I keep trying to look here. There are some services out there who give you the regional games, like who's going to carry which games for you.
Oh, yeah.
On the weekend. Here's what we know on the NFL deal. Okay, the whole country's getting Thursday night Chiefs hosting Texans. The whole country will get NBC Sunday Night Football, Dallas at L.A., Rams hosting Cowboys. Monday night, the doubleheader, by the way, if you're interested in this, so that first one of that Monday night doubleheader, Monday Night Football, the Steelers at the Giants, that's where they're taking Chris Fowler and Kirk Herbstreit doing that game. You're not going to get the actual Monday Night Football broadcast crew until the late game Monday night between Tennessee and Denver. That'll be Steve Levy, Brian Greasy, Louis Riddick, who we talked about. But during the day, all right, the day games, trying to figure out who we know will get the Saints games, right? In our area, we know the local Fox will carry Buccaneers Saints at 3 o'clock. But I guess that's the whole country. No, it'll be this.
No, because Arizona and the 49ers will be playing at the same time.
That's
so they'll
right.
Probably split the country in half.
Okay, so on our side of the country, we're going to get Saints Buccaneers.
Yeah.
When I said the whole country, I just thought the whole country wants to see Tom Brady play for the Buccaneers. But
with
we'll
the
get that.
exception of that Gator Nation guy.
Yeah. But the noon deal,
the
at noon, you'll have 2 games, one on local Fox and one on local CBS at noon. I just don't know which one we're going to get. I ain't got a clue.
I would probably say, if I had to guess, we'd get the Indianapolis-Jacksonville game.
I wonder why that is.
Or possibly the Cleveland-Baltimore game. We're going to get whatever game's more going to be in the center to the East Coast.
It's a little frustrating here because there's usually a couple of links out there where people have the map for you.
Yeah. Well, that's why people get the red zone.
Right. They just see it all.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that, though. They took it away from Dish. Did you know that?
Mm-hmm.
They took the NFL Network, took themselves basically off of Dish. Okay. So in order to get the NFL Network and the NFL Red Zone, you have to either have DirecTV, and if you don't have that, you have to have YouTube TV, which I like it and everything, but I'm not going out here paying another $50 a month to get YouTube TV now that I've already gotten Hulu and I've already gotten Sling because of the Hallmark Channel. And that's just the truth of it.
Well, I've got Comcast, and so we're you can get the Red Zone because we do have NFL Network, but
yeah,
it's just a lot to pay.
Yeah, no, it
for
is.
me. Then I can watch all the highlights on
Okay,
ESPN.
If I'm seeing this right, JB,
yeah,
it looks like Sunday in terms of local television broadcasts. Sunday. The local CBS game at noon on Sunday around here is going to be Dolphins at New England. Okay, that'll be the noon CBS game that we get. And then according to this map, the noon Fox game, which will be on our Fox channel before Saints Buccaneers at 3, the noon Fox game is going to be Seattle at Atlanta. Mm-hmm. Yes, you guessed right. And I mean, that's as good as anything else. And Saints fans get to watch the division foe, the Falcons. Todd Gurley, a new running back. Yeah. Oh, wow. And how about this? JB, we were right. Get this. The Fox late game. So when I say the late game, the 3:30 in the afternoon Sunday game, there's 2 of them on Fox. Either Saints Buccaneers or, as you said, or Arizona San Francisco. Mm-hmm. The entire country.
Except for Mississippi and Louisiana.
No. The entire country is getting Saints Buccaneers except for parts of Arizona and a little bitty teeny tiny part of Northern California and Nevada. The rest of the country, the whole map is red, which means you're getting Tampa Bay and New Orleans. So the whole country.
Drew Brees and TB12.
That's it, man. It's the biggest game of the weekend. Hands down. Everybody's going to get it. Unless you live in L.A. or San Francisco. I mean, Phoenix and in Arizona.
I bet our man Jason in Flagstaff won't be too happy.
He's not. He's not getting to see it on his local television unless he has the ticket or whatever you pay for. Yeah. All because of where he lives. All right, y'all stick around.
Farm Bureau Insurance stands ready to provide financial relief to our communities in this time of crisis. This includes a one-time credit to all personal auto policyholders, a donation of $500,000 to the Mississippi Food Network, and additional payment options for those hit the hardest, all while continuing to service customer claims as well. But this is the time to go above and beyond. These are a few ways we're keeping the Farm Bureau promise. To learn more, talk to your agent or visit us online. Go with the home team.
Every farmer understands their farm can't thrive without some good partners like sun, soil, and rain. And farmers in North Mississippi also rely on another important partner, Mississippi Land Bank, because land and farm financing are Mississippi Land Bank's primary focus. We've grown alongside these farmers' crops for more than 100 years. We understand what a farmer needs, and we know the lay of the land in North Mississippi, and that's where I stand.
Bull. There's a lot of that out there in the wireless world. But C Spire believes that you deserve a plan that is what it actually says it is. Here's the real deal. The best plan for 1 or 2 lines. Unlimited talk and text with 10 gigabytes of high-speed data. And here's the real deal. $45 per line with auto pay and paperless billing. Even without auto pay, it's just $50. Now, how's that for the fine print? No bull. That's the real deal. Switch to C Spire today at cspire.com/real deal. C Spire, customer inspired. Man, that sounds like summertime in Mississippi, doesn't it? You know what else just screams summertime in Mississippi? Country Pleasing sausage from Country Meat Packers in Florence. Check me out. Jalapeno and cheddar. Just got it at Kroger in Tupelo where I live. On grocery store shelves throughout the Southeast. Cut it up, throw it in the frying pan. Put it on a bun. Get some andouille, make some gumbo. It is the best sausage you've ever put in your mouth. Country Pleasing sausage, countrypleasing.com. It is made up of hand-picked hams, bacon, and pork loin. That's why it tastes so good. I even got this cool hat from them. Check them out. Go by the butcher shop there in Florence or order it online or look for it in grocery stores. Walk up in there and say, Country Pleasing, please.
A lot of people in the equipment world, things kind of go in trends, I guess, if you want to say it. So kind of the first big thing for 2020 that we look at when we start evaluating our business is going to be our turf equipment. That's kind of the first big push, because once the water dries up and the grass starts growing, this is what everybody's looking to get. We carry the new Wright stand-up mower. Doesn't look like much, and it's dirty as all get out. But this thing is, and it costs just as much as zero turn. Not a cheap unit at all. I mean, if you go out there and look at that zero turn, this thing right here, I mean, it's got all your components from your big pumps to your commercial engine to your large steel deck. And these guys were the first ones to make the standard mower.
Hey, are you buying land or selling it? You need to let Matt Anderson with National Land Realty help you out. Matt Anderson Properties. Here's what Matt can do. If you're buying land, you can view the property without ever setting foot on it. They've got the 360-degree interactive drone touring. It's really cool. You got to check it out. And if you're selling property, Matt's going to get you consistent reports, comprehensive reports of who's looking, how many people looked at your listing. You need to let him help you. Matt Anderson Properties with National Land Realty. Call him, 601-408-5155. Hey, if you listen to the show, you know that the new third hour of the Matt Wyatt Show is brought to you by Overstreet Properties in Starkville. Here's what you need to know. If you're looking for a weekend home or condo, full-time residence, investment property, maybe just an apartment to lease, you got a student going to school at state, call Kane Overstreet at Overstreet Properties. In Starkville, it's 323-8618, or look them up online, overstreetproperties.com.
The Zone 1059.com and on your radio at ESPN 1059. The Zone.
Are you ready? Brace yourself.
Now back to the Matt Wyatt Show.
All right. Back with you here. Hour 3 of the show presented by Overstreet Properties in Starkville. Overstreetproperties.com. Buying a new house, moving there permanently. Maybe it's investment property. You just need a condo to spend the night or several nights or several weekends, or need an apartment to lease, any of that. They can handle all of it for you, and it's the right place for you to go. Overstreet Properties. Go see Kane Overstreet. Then you can find all the info at overstreetproperties.com. All right, some of your texts here. Country Please and text line. We're talking the NFL stuff. I'm really looking forward to it. Thursday night game, Chiefs going to play, and then Saints on Sunday, primetime slot. What turns out to be an NFL primetime slot is that 3 o'clock in the afternoon, especially when they do what they're doing this weekend and putting that one up on Fox across the entire country, just the exception of 2 markets, Northern California and obviously Arizona. I mean, everybody's going to get to watch Drew Brees versus Tom Brady on Sunday afternoon, if they want to.
See where DeAndre Hopkins at the Cardinals just signed an extension for $54.5 million.
Yeah. Over what amount of time?
Through 24.
Okay.
So he's averaging about $18.8 million a year.
Yeah. Whew. That's a lot of money.
If you can get it, man.
Hey, that's a lot of money for a receiver.
Yeah, he's probably going to be the heir apparent to Larry Fitz.
Yeah. Larry Fitzgerald. Well, and you go out and invest a first-round pick in a Kyler Murray. You got to have somebody that fits the deal. And you know what? I know that Cliff Kingsbury is fast-tracked as an NFL head coach as a young guy out there in Arizona. But if you notice something, JB, everybody keeps saying, this guy over here, he could be the next Cliff Kingsbury, or that guy might be the next Cliff Kingsbury. And I'm going, what's he done? What is it? I mean, what's the big deal? Like, it's one thing if you went, which we did for 25 years, so-and-so, Kobe's going to be the next Michael Jordan. LeBron is the next Michael Jordan. Okay. All right, that's one thing.
Right.
What has Cliff Kingsbury done?
Yeah, well, he was a great OC and he was a pretty decent head college coach. I don't think I think the main thing that got him where he is now, this is just my thought, Matt, but he coached 2 quarterbacks that were number 1 draft picks, and even though neither one of them are proven to be number 1 draft picks yet, I think it just kind of goes with the territory. His name got mentioned with Baker Mayfield and then Kyler Murray, and it just snowballed from there.
Yeah.
But it kind of compares to me to Leonard Fournette. What has Leonard Fournette done?
Yeah.
And now he's saying, I finally have a quarterback. What does that mean?
Well, it's not like he's got to throw it to you, Leonard.
Exactly.
Yeah, people say stuff that sounds good to themselves. And I tell you, big-time athletes, they have these tremendous egos as well. Part of the reason that I think they're successful, along with great ability, is they are eternally positive. And sometimes that manifests itself into being kind of eternally optimistic, which you have to be. And then the next step after that is unrealistically optimistic.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Right. I'm the best ever. I'm the greatest of all time. All I needed was this.
Kind of like Dustin Johnson is now.
Kind of like that. Like, nothing can stop me. Nothing has ever been my fault. All I needed was a quarterback. Because outside of that, I'm perfect.
Yeah.
You get some of that. Fleet Feet Pete on the Country Pleasing text line says, didn't Moncrief sign with the Jets? Yes. Dante Moncrief, receiver, Ole Miss, did sign with the Jets. They cut him 3 days ago. He was not there very long. I mean, he had a really short period of time to try to make their 53. What, a week? Week and a half? And they cut him. That's a surprising one. I mean, he got a good start when he was there in Indianapolis with Andrew Luck, where they drafted him. He just seemed to get off to a good start, but for whatever reason, he couldn't maintain it and really hopped around. That's the thing about Moncrief is once he left Indianapolis, how many teams has he been with since then? I mean, I could look it up, but it's been quite a few.
I think 3, if you count the Jets.
Okay. Update here, we're talking about fans in the stands. Thanks for the information. Unnamed texter said there will not be any fans allowed in the stadium for the Cowboys-Rams game due to COVID-19. It's just silly. You have an open-air stadium. You say we can't allow a single soul in there. That's just not – it's just stupid. But they can do what they want. I don't care. I don't have to have fans in there to enjoy the game. It does make it a little different. But pipe the noise in there. Show me the plays. I'm cool. I'm cool with it. Gator Nation
can have fans. They're not going to allow anybody wearing white shoes after Labor Day or seersucker suits.
That's right, because it's not a circus. That's why. I mean, come on now, really. Grown fellas. I don't know. I can be as stupid as the next guy, really. But it's like I look at things sometimes and I think about like my uncles and my granddads who were like men's men. Okay? And I just can't even picture them in a fruity little... They would just never do it. Okay? They just wouldn't do it. Be walking around in a fruity little seersucker suit with a bow tie. I mean, it would just... The only way is if it were a joke. So I can't...
Kind of like Pappy O'Daniel?
Yeah. Like those guys sitting on his front porch. He's kind of the voice in the back of his head. They are the voice. Mm-hmm. He's going to spank that behind. Oh, yeah, he's going to spank it. He's going to spank that behind. Uh-huh. Show you. I mean, come on now. Come on. What are we doing, y'all? Y'all, what are we doing?
Did you see Gator Nation's text?
All right, let's look at it. Gator Nation said, is Breeze playing week 1, or are they going to hold him out until they have a chance to win? Well, I'm going to say this, Gator Nation. That's a funny text. We were having the Mississippi State LSU conversation a few days ago, and to the credit of Tiger, what's his name, he got out on the limb and he even offered people odds.
Yeah, he did.
21. He gave Mississippi State fans 21 points. You can take the 21 points and stay all you want to, and I'll give you those odds. Just come on in here. I mean, like, he's going to lose it. He's going to lose all those bets he takes. But at least he went out there and was willing. So what are you willing to give Mr. Gator Nation, Mr. TB12 GOAT, now a brand new member of the Buccaneers bandwagon fan club? What are you willing to give Saints fans for that comment? You're saying they don't have a chance. Is Breeze playing week 1, or are they going to hold him out till they have a chance to win? What are you willing to say and put on the line for Saints fans? That's all I want to know.
So if I think Breeze is only going to play till halftime. They'll be so far ahead, and then they'll put Winston in there.
Yes, right. Give Winston a chance to run up the score against his old team.
Yeah.
That's a more likely scenario, frankly, than the Saints having no chance to win this game against the Buccaneers.
I'd like even odds on Fournette getting hurt. Not that I wish him to get hurt, but I just don't think he's going to be ready to play.
Yeah. You hear that, TB12 GOAT? Gator Nation?
The only thing I think there is it's O.J. Howard and Gronk may be a little hard to cover.
Yeah.
Not sure those outside linebackers can handle that stuff.
Right. It's a nice little tandem. You know, when Gronk talks and he has that thick Yankee accent, you know? And O.J. Howard from Prattville, Alabama, went to a Tauga Academy. You talk about from two different worlds. Y'all ever been to Prattville?
I've heard lots of good things about it.
Yep. They got their fannies whipped Friday night by Auburn High School. Got shut out. I watched the game on the NFHS network some on Friday night. Watched the second half anyway. And Prattville looked like they hadn't even practiced. It was terrible.
So is Auburn High School, is that kind of like a charter school through the university, kind of like Southern Lab is at University Lab is at Baton Rouge and LSU?
I don't know. It's a public school for whatever that's worth.
So it's just Auburn, Alabama High School.
That's right. Auburn,
Not
Alabama.
University of Auburn.
And they have a great facility there. But yeah, Prattville, you know, they were 2-0 and they beat Stanhope, big rival the week before on the road, and I think everybody told them how great they were for a week.
And they believed it.
Mm-hmm. They got brought back down to earth. That happens, you know. That happens. Hey, we come right back. I want to recap an early conversation we had about the Jay Hopson stuff at Southern Miss. We'll do that next. Stick around.
This portion of the Matt Wyatt Show is brought to you.
Farm Bureau Insurance stands ready to provide financial relief to our communities in this time of crisis. This includes a one-time credit to all personal auto policyholders, a donation of $500,000 to the Mississippi Food Network, and additional payment options for those hit the hardest, all while continuing to service customer claims as well. But this is the time to go above and beyond. These are a few ways we're keeping the Farm Bureau promise. To learn more, talk to your agent or visit us online. Go with the home team.
Every farmer understands their farm can't thrive without some good partners like sun, soil, and rain. And farmers in North Mississippi also rely on another important partner, Mississippi Land Bank, because land and farm financing are Mississippi Land Bank's primary focus. We've grown alongside these farmers' crops for more than 100 years. We understand what a farmer needs, and we know the lay of the land in North Mississippi, and that's where I stand.
Bull. There's a lot of that out there in the wireless world. But C Spire believes that you deserve a plan that is what it actually says it is. Here's the real deal. The best plan for 1 or 2 lines. Unlimited talk and text with 10 gigabytes of high-speed data. And here's the real deal. $45 per line with auto pay and paperless billing. Even without auto pay, it's just $50. Now, how's that for the fine print? No bull. That's the real deal. Switch to C Spire today at cspire.com/real deal. C Spire, customer inspired. Man, that sounds like summertime in Mississippi, doesn't it? You know what else just screams summertime in Mississippi? Country pleasing sausage from Country Meat Packers in Florence. Check me out. Jalapeno and cheddar. Just got it at Kroger in Tupelo where I live. On grocery store shelves throughout the Southeast. Cut it up, throw it in the frying pan, put it on a bun. Get some andouille, make some gumbo. It is the best sausage you've ever put in your mouth. Country Pleasing Sausage, countrypleasing.com. It is made up of hand-picked hams, bacon, and pork loin. That's why it tastes so good. I even got this cool hat from them. Check them out. Go by the butcher shop there in Florence, or order it online, or look for it in grocery stores. Walk up in there and say, Country Pleasing, please.
A lot of people in the equipment world, things kind of go in trends, I guess, if you want to say it. So kind of the first big thing for 2020 that we look at when we start evaluating our business is going to be our turf equipment. That's kind of the first big push, because once everything, the water dries up and the grass starts growing, this is what everybody's looking to get. We carry the new Wright stand-up mower. Doesn't look like much, and it's dirty as all get out. But this thing is, and it costs just as much as zero turn. Not a cheap unit at all. I mean, if you go out there and look at that zero turn, this thing right here, I mean, it's got all your components from your big pumps to your commercial engine to your large steel deck. And these guys were the first ones to make the standard mower.
Hey, are you buying land or selling it? You need to let Matt Anderson with National Land Realty help you out. Matt Anderson Properties. Here's what Matt can do. If you're buying land, you can view the property without ever setting foot on it. We've got the 360-degree interactive drone. Back with you. Let me go rapid fire on a couple of pieces of information for you. Here in Hour 3, presented by Overstreet Properties in Starkville. Overstreetproperties.com. According to data that is popping up being released, you can find it, I see it all over the place on social media. This is from an academic. Let's see, hold on. Some university source retweeted by Clay Travis from Outkick. There have been over 26,000 positive coronavirus tests reported on 29 different college campuses, and there are 0 student hospitalizations as a result. Now, how about that? So on 29 different campuses, you've had over 26,000 positive tests reported, and of those, 0 student hospitalizations as a result of it. And whether you like Clay Travis or not, you do have to listen to this and think. I think it makes you think. He said, rest assured, though, however, that when there is a college student hospitalized, it'll be covered by the Corona Bros in the sports media as a sign the world is collapsing and all school and sports are impossible. Here's another one for you, a piece of information. Let me get this to you real quick. Lee Chatfield, the Speaker of the House of Representatives in Michigan, sent a letter to the Big Ten and to Commissioner Kevin Warren requesting that the conference reconsider the postponement of football season this fall. First paragraph to the Commissioner from Lee Chatfield, Speaker of the House in Michigan. We would like to express our desire for the Big Ten Conference to reconsider the decision to cancel the football season. After hearing from many concerned students, parents, and coaches, we've been encouraged to convey our support for their wishes and our responsibility to defend the students' long-term academic and career interests. There it is. Gave you the info. Mention this. Coach Flores, Brian Flores, head coach, Miami Dolphins, going to start Ryan Fitzpatrick this weekend. He will not start Tua. Going to handle him with kid gloves early on.
Well, we're going to do what we feel is best to try to win the game. That's going to be our approach every week. But I would say, if young players get reps in the game, then that's good. If they only get reps in practice, then that's what it is, and we have to make do with what we have.
There it is. Okay, listen to this. I know coming up at 3 o'clock here on The Zone with Jake Wimberly, The Drive with Jake Wimberly and Beaver, they're going to have some potentially, more talk, more information as they come across it about the situation with Jay Hopson stepping down at Southern Miss. To begin today's show here, so we're talking about back in hour one, I chatted a little bit with Jamie Arrington. Jamie is a super fan at Southern Miss, but has long time been connected with the university and hosts a podcast, To the Top Talk, Southern Miss podcast. Talk with Jamie. And he gave me a long answer here, but he kind of went through some of the background that might have led up to Jay Hopson deciding to step away. Listen to what Arrington said earlier in the show.
Well, first off, I would say that Jay Hopson is a guy that a lot of people love. A lot of people that know him. Heck, I remember sitting in the interview room with you back in 2016 when he first started, and he came in, and that's like, when you see press conference Jay and you see Jay in real life, it's he has nicknames for people. It's uncanny. He came in, he was like, Matty Dub, what's going on? How's your pop? All that stuff. It's totally different from what you see at the press conference. So everybody that knows him loves him. He's a guy that was, an assistant coach here, then defensive coordinator here, and came back as head coach. He went through his cancer treatments while he was here at Southern Miss. So he's a guy that a lot of people love and respect. And honestly, he's a guy that a lot of people kind of thought that this would go better than it did. There were some highs, there were some lows, but there weren't as many highs as you would have expected. I kind of was under the impression that, maybe once he starts getting his players in, year 3, year 4, year 5, that you would start to see things really happen, and that just didn't come to fruition for whatever reason. But if you want to talk about what happened, you look at the past few years. 2016, he was 7-6, won the New Orleans Bowl. 2017, 8-5, we get hammered in the Independence Bowl. 6-5 in 2018, no bowl game. 2019, 7-6 last year. We fall in the bowl game, and then this year, starting off, we fall 32-21 to a South Alabama team that was a 2-touchdown underdog. You look at the 3 previous games to this, towards the end of last season. So with about 2 games left, we were very much in the running, not only to play in the conference championship, but to have a shot at hosting it. Then we run into Western Kentucky and fall 28-10, which is a game that it was pretty evident that we were being outcoached. FAU, the game after that, we took on, Lane Kiffin, who I'm sure your listeners are quite familiar with at this point. Southern Miss fell 34-17. And in those 2 games, you just kind of felt like there was not an energy there. There was not an enthusiasm there. There were some players that were getting fired up, but it was very sporadic. It wasn't very consistent. The team as a whole just kind of felt stale. And then you look at the bowl game. The Southern Miss comes out, puts up 2 touchdowns right off the bat, takes a 13-0 lead, doesn't score again, and falls to Tulane Green Wave, which is a team that, if you look at the record books, Southern Miss has dominated for a long time. So you throw that in, there was a lot of frustrations heading into the off season. There was a lot of concern from, alumnus, supporters, boosters, etc. And then you get to this off season with COVID. And I think that there were so many uncertainties with COVID. To be fair, we did not have a spring, just like nobody else had a spring. We knew we were going to be one of the first games to come out. We didn't know how this was going to go. But once you start getting into camp, we had 7 players not only opt out of the season, which is totally understandable. I get the risk there. I get, especially with young African-American men, I totally understand why that you would opt out. Some of the guys on the team had family members that suffered some pretty severe circumstances due to COVID. But we had not only these players opt out, they transferred. They entered the transfer portal. And some of these came after the NCAA ruled that players were not going to be, their eligibility for this year was, going to be a wash. It was not going to be taken away from them. So that makes you think there's something internally going on. And you would see, whether it's from, I didn't talk to any players directly, but you could see some outbursts on Twitter that there were a lot of players that just were not happy. Also, College Football Insider, Janita Tyree, a.k.a. my mom, called me on Friday after the game, and the first thing she said was, something looks off with Jay. He looks exhausted.
Yeah.
He looks tired. And I think that's a pretty fair assessment. And you think back to this summer, in June, his father passed away.
Right.
And I know that's somebody he was really close with, and I know that weighed on him a lot. So I don't know. It's very odd for this to happen after game one. I would have thought it would have happened at the end of the season. But I don't know for sure whether it was a forced resignation or if I don't know anything for certain. It seems odd that it would not be forced. But if this is a man that's had a lot on him and just kind of worn out and just, for the good of the program, just ready to let it move forward, that very well could have been the case.
Okay, that was Jamie Arrington, host of To the Top Talk podcast, Southern Miss dedicated podcast, earlier today on the show. Wanted to share that with you. And looking forward to tuning in to the drive this afternoon with Jake, and they'll have a lot of information and a lot of stuff too. Not just Southern Miss talk, but all that coming your way. Looking ahead to the rest of the week, you're going to have today a press opportunity with Mississippi State coaches and players after their practice today. I don't know which coaches and players. We'll see who that is, what comes out of it. They're getting a little closer. Teams are starting to put their two deeps together, some of those things. And so this is the time of year. When I say time of year, that's really the wrong term. This is the length of time before the first game when some of that stuff starts to develop, right? So what are we talking about here? A little less, just a little more than 2 weeks. They're basically approaching 2 weeks from when they're going to play. This is usually about the time in camp leading up to it, the two deep stuff starts to develop, and the players that are separating get a few more reps and those kinds of things. Okay, so we're going to find that out. I'm almost certain Ole Miss doing the same thing, making a coach, a player, some of their guys available to the media. I think Lane Kiffin is one of those. Yeah, that's right. So Kiffin, we'll have some Kiffin for you tomorrow. We'll see what he says. And then maybe the same thing for Saban. You're starting to get those a little more regular. Those, I will tell you this, those three schools, as much as anybody in the SEC, Alabama, Mississippi State, and Ole Miss, those three schools, as much as anybody in the league, are doing a great job communicating with media, making coach audio and video, player audio, video, practice video available to the media. They're doing a great job at those three schools, given where we are, that media can't go to practice, they can't do interviews in person and that kind of thing. So we'll see if we get any of that for you tomorrow. How about that? All right. Thanks for tuning in. Good show today. JB, appreciate you.
Thank you, sir. Good stuff.
Yes, sir.
Have a safe rest of your afternoon and evening.
I'm going to do my darndest. I'm going to eat good tonight. I know that much.
Get them Navy beans out.
Better start soaking them now, right? All right. That's it. We'll see y'all tomorrow. Same time, same place in the Farm Bureau studio. See you then. See ya.